Hey guys, welcome in. It's the Rob Kendall Show. Hope you're having a great Wednesday. Thanks for spending it with us. Oh, the state treasurer and the Secretary of State are going at it, and it is awesome. It is awesome. We're going to tell you all about it here in just a moment. Don't forget, guys, if you're new to the program, welcome. Here's what we do. 3 hours a day, every day, most of it, Indiana news, politics, and government. When we talk about national stuff, we bring it back home. Nobody else is doing it. Nobody else is doing what we're doing. And help us out. Like the feed. Hit that little thumbs up button. Get your day started right. Help the program grow. Like the program. We ask for 3 steps each day. We call them like, share, and subscribe. First of all, as we said, hit the thumbs up. They're on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. If you're new, welcome to our show. So glad you're with us. Hit the subscribe button. And last but certainly not least, whatever social media platform you are on, Facebook, Twitter, whatever it is, share the feed. Get the word out. All we do, all the growth we have, it is organic and it is thanks to you guys. All right, let's get right to it. The Secretary of State unloaded yesterday on the state treasurer. And guys, this is awesome. The Indiana Republican Party, the mask is being pulled back right in front of us. They're imploding right in front of us. And look, if I were Diego Morales, I would spend the next 3 weeks and the $1 million that I have in my campaign account being the world's biggest troll. I would burn the Republican Party that has abandoned him. I would burn the Republican Party that are complete hypocrites. I would burn the Republican Party that has known exactly what he is for years. I would burn it to the ground. If you're going out, go out in style. Every one of these people who has turned on him knew exactly what he was for years, and they enabled him. They emboldened him. They went along with him, and they did it. They did it for political purposes and self-preservation. Primarily, a whole lot of the money that flows into Diego Morales also flows into the rest of these people. They are abandoning him now because they firmly believe, as I laid out in an IndyStar article 2 weeks ago, they're going to lose the office if he's the nominee. They firmly believe that if Diego Morales is the nominee, the Republicans will lose the office. That's it. That's what it's all about. They're not sorry for supporting him all of these years. They're not sorry that they didn't do anything to stop him. They're not sorry that they allowed this egregious behavior, repetitively egregious behavior, to go on. These Republicans are only worried now that he's going to lose. If Greg Ballard's on the ballot and Bo Bai is the nominee, they're going to lose the office to Bai. That's what this is all about. And if you're Diego Morales, don't let him do it. Don't let him do it. Expose it all. In many ways, Diego's a moron, okay? I don't think Diego's ever been in control of his own destiny. I think he's a figurehead stooge. And so in a weird way, Diego's almost like a victim in all of this. I mean, he's a willing victim. But all of these people who now cry foul, all of the people who have abandoned him, all of the people who have turned and run, all the people who now condemn him, again, you notice, none of them actually want him investigated. Rokita, Banks, these county chairs, none of them are actually calling for investigations into Diego Morales. They'll talk about scandals. They'll even use the word like Rokita did. But they don't want him investigated. They don't want the truth exposed. They want him to go away. And if you're Diego Morales, you can't let that happen because these people knew what you were the entire time. They knew what you were, and they let it happen. And if you're interested in more of this via the printed word, I have a new column out in the IndyStar today talking about just this. talking about how the Republican Party gets more shameful by the day in the sense that they refuse to actually want accountability for Diego. They refuse to actually want justice on Diego. And they're very careful about their words. And we go into this in the article. They're very careful about the words they use because there is a good chance, even if it's just by association, many of these people would be implicated in whatever investigation is done into Diego. And so you can read that today in the Indy Star. And we're going to talk about it a little bit about it here. So the big news yesterday was that Diego Morales finally addressed Elina Kupce. Now, Elina Kupce is this mysterious woman who has seemingly disappeared, who, it appears, according to Jim Banks, U.S. Senator, according to the reporting by Abdul at Indy Politics, was working in the Secretary of State's office, rose to the level of Deputy Chief of Staff as a non-citizen of this country. Think about that for a second, guys. The person who oversees elections and businesses in our country had a non-citizen as his Deputy Chief of Staff. A guy who had made America First and the Trump agenda and holding illegal immigrants accountable and all of this stuff, right? Had a non-citizen working as his Deputy Chief of Staff. We're not talking about someone who answers the phones. We're not talking about the janitor. We are talking about someone who, at least on paper, served as the gatekeeper to a statewide office holder who has access to the personal information of millions of Hoosiers. It's a major story. And then on top of that, the state treasurer came out and said this woman was illegally in the country. So a week has gone by since this story broke from Abdul, first over at Indy Politics. And finally, yesterday, Diego, in a letter to delegates of the state convention who will decide his fate, addressed the issue. Now, full disclosure, guys, in the letter that Diego sent to delegates, he included his phone number. And what I want to ask you guys now is what I should do with this. It was a public letter to delegates. It was not a private correspondence. It was not shared to me as a DM or anything like that. It was a public letter that went out to delegates. Diego included his phone number on the letter and asked people to call him if they had any questions. So in the YouTube chat, I want you guys to let me know, and we'll address this later on. By the way, if you're new to the program, again, welcome. The way our YouTube chat works is you have to be a subscriber to our channel in order to chat. We have an awesome community. We get hundreds and hundreds of comments every single day. We have a great group of people. They're awesome. You'll love them. The only thing we ask you to do in order to be a commenter in our YouTube chat is you have to be a subscriber to the channel. And at the end of each day, producer Jason reads some of the best comments of the day, brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. So my question to you guys in the YouTube chat, is it fair game for me to take that phone number that Diego publicly gave out and asked people to call him if they had questions and call him? Now, the reason I ask is it was sent to delegates, but it was publicly sent to delegates. And I really am being serious when I ask this. I am not a person who wants to sandbag people. I've been trying for a week now to get a message to Diego Morales over multiple channels. And now he's given out his phone number. It was given to delegates, though. So does it make me a bad person if indeed I use the phone number that he publicly gave out? I would not do this if you're not giving out the phone number publicly, even though it was given to delegates, if I call him and request that he do an interview. What do you guys think? What's the etiquette on this? Does it make me a bad person? Look, and I mean this with all sincerity, and multiple people in the Statehouse have agreed with me on this. The best thing Diego could do at this point is do an interview with me. He would break the internet. The amount of views that thing would get would be off the charts. And if he wants to come in here and be combative, which would be great, It would show the delegates he's willing to fight. And by the way, there's a whole bunch of these delegates who absolutely hate my guts. I am being 100% sincere when I say the best thing Diego could do for his campaign, which is going down the toilet as we speak, is come in here and do the interview with me. Look, he knows what he's going to get asked, right? He knows the things I want to know about. It's way better for him to have an answer for him. They're probably going to come out anyway in the next couple weeks. And then once we get through those things, we are in agreement on who these people are that are abandoning him and how they're treating him and how ridiculous that is, for different reasons, of course. But then he can make that case. So what do you guys think? Is it fair game for me to call this phone number that he gave out in the email that he sent out to the delegates? Now, there's 1,800 delegates or so, right? So it's not like this just went out to 5 people. It went out to probably, I would guess 1,800 plus people. Is that fair game? Let me know. I'm curious what you guys think. If you guys say it's fair game, I'm calling him later today. But here's what happened yesterday. Diego Morales, in this letter to the delegates, said this about Kupce. Now notice, in this letter, everything I'm about to read to you, at no point does he deny that she is not a U.S. citizen. Of all the words that are used here, at no point is he like, that is ludicrous, she's totally a citizen. Notice the words that he uses. Quote, the employee in my office that was the subject of Mr. Elliott's attack. Now remember, Daniel Elliott, the state treasurer, who knew, by the way, for years what Diego was. I took a letter to his office 1.5 years ago begging him to help me stop Diego. Begging him to help me demand investigations into Diego. You know what he did? He laughed at me. He laughed at me. He was the only statewide who was in their office. I dropped the letter off to every statewide office holder. Elina Shallow, the comptroller, Daniel Elliott, the treasurer, Micah Beckwith, the lieutenant governor, Mike Braun, the governor, Todd Rokita, the attorney general. Well, and I dropped it off to Diego's office as well, assuming I wouldn't get any help there. But I really thought when I did this, and if you guys remember, we filmed this, we put a video out of me doing this. I really thought, okay, somebody, one of these people is going to be like, you know what, he's right, enough's enough. We got to do something about this guy. None of them did, and Daniel Elliott laughed about it. But now Daniel Elliott, once everyone else has piled on, he's turned into a real Billy Badass. And look, everything I'm telling you guys right now, Elliott and I had it out the other day. He, to his credit, he called me. I told him everything, well, not to his face, but through the phone, that I'm telling you guys right now. And I give him credit. He called. Unlike the rest of these guys, he's not a big wussy. I want to say something else, but we decided to go back to the family-friendly version of the program. You never know who might be listening. You never know when your next potential job opportunity might be tuning in. He called me and I told him, I said, you guys are awful because you're only doing it now because you want him out of the office because you're worried he's going to lose. And there really isn't a lot of denying about it. I mean, again, 1.5 years ago, I walked into that office with Elliott and his lunch club employees, who other than sitting around and eating, I'm not sure what they do or did all day. And I begged him to help. I said, please stop this guy. You've always seemed like a really decent dude. You've always seemed like the one guy in the Statehouse that's about the people. Please help me stop this guy. Please use your bully pulpit to demand action. They laughed at me. They thought it was funny. Not funny anymore. But it's not funny because they're worried about the trip to India or that getting exposed or Diego rolling around with a high-profile known felon who went down on federal bribery charges or voting in a county different from where you take your homestead credit or the endless list of crap this guy's pulled. It's not funny now because the office is going down unless they do something. So Elliott came out, claimed that the woman was illegally in the country, Elina Kupce, And on top of saying Diego should drop out of the race, also said Diego should resign the office of Secretary of State. But again, notice, nobody, including Elliott, ever demands criminal investigation. If Diego has done something so heinous, Daniel Elliott, that he needs to resign the office, why are you not demanding that Ryan Mears launch a criminal investigation? Tell us what it is and demand that. Why are you not demanding that the Inspector General for the state of Indiana, and this goes for Todd Rokita as well, who is the chief law enforcement officer for our state, why aren't you guys demanding that Ryan Mears launch a criminal investigation into whatever the scandal is that was so bad that you guys have lost your minds a month before the convention, and the Inspector General launch an investigation as well? They don't want that because they don't want the truth. Because if the truth comes out, no matter whether it's Engling or Diego or Shelton or whoever, by the way, speaking of Shelton, David Shelton is going to be with us in a little bit. David Shelton is the Knox County clerk, and David Shelton today is going to reveal that he believes he was bribed by the Indiana Republican Party to try to get out of the race, that they offered him a job in exchange for getting out of the race when the Republican Party was all behind Diego. That's the hypocrisy of these people. A month ago, it was Shelton, here's a job for you if you'll get out because we're worried about Diego. They were worried about Diego going down at convention. And it's all about control. The reason now is they believe Engling, they've got control of him. They don't want Shelton because Shelton's an outsider. Shelton's problem is he's incredibly boring, and I worry he's not going to be able to properly influence the delegates on his behalf, because delegates at the convention are activists, a lot of them. They want red meat. They want grenades. That's not his personality. But you guys need to stick around for that, because coming up later, David Shelton is going to reveal he believes he was bribed to try to get out of the Secretary of State's race. That's how pathetic these people have known Diego was for a long time. So here's what Diego said. The employee in my office that was subject of Mr. Elliott's attack was cleared to work by the Indiana Personnel Department HR Division. She was lawfully work authorized under state law. The agency that cleared her to work in my office handles background checks and work authorization verification for state agencies, including mine. Not the question, Diego. The question is, was this woman a non-citizen? Notice he never addresses that because, according to numerous people now, including a United States Senator, she was not. The Secretary of State, who has made America first, his whole dealio, right, had a non-citizen as his gatekeeper. It's not about whether she was eligible to work, Diego. Lots of non-citizens are eligible to work. Republicans, the party of Diego, pays for them to come here all the time. They take our money through the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. They take your hard-earned money, your taxes, and they give it to foreign corporations who push in non-citizen workers. We know they're eligible to work, Diego. Our money's taken and given to them all the time. Quote, we followed the legal process and we followed the law, period. Anyone suggesting otherwise is either misinformed or deliberately misleading Hoosiers. Okay, so he's talking about Elliott claiming, I think we can accept now this woman was a non-citizen. Right? I think we can accept that. And if that's wrong, she should sue Jim Banks. The question now is, at any point, was this woman illegally in the country while she was working for you? And where has she disappeared to? Look, people do not leave deputy chief of staff jobs and go nowhere. It was, what, $160,000 job, according to Abdul? It's a high-ranking government position. People do leave those positions, but they don't leave to work at Target. They might leave to run Target, but they don't just willfully leave those positions. Where is this woman at? I want to hear from her. Where did she go? She has disappeared. And how is it possible that someone who worked for the Pacers and the Fever and the Dolphins and then rose, first of all, how did she rise to a deputy chief of staff? What in her background was you were like, Diego, yeah, that's the ticket. I'm going to hire her. I'm going to hire her as my deputy chief of staff. That's a major question. And where did she go to? What job did she take? Is she still in the country? Until those questions get answered. Look, the bigger issue right now is that the state treasurer has alleged this woman was illegally in the country. This is not some just rando on the internet. This is the state treasurer of Indiana. Was Elina Kupce at any point illegally in the country while working for Diego Morales? There's like two sides to this story. There's big story, which is non-citizen is deputy chief of staff for Secretary of State. That's a big story. It would be a big story, period, but it's a big story of Diego's making because he's Mr. America first. And the unanswered question, which is mega story, if true, is was this woman illegally in the country while serving as the deputy chief of staff for the Secretary of State? Then Diego unloads on Elliott. This is great. Mr. Elliott either does not know hiring procedures of Indiana state government or willfully took a cheap shot at me in a text someone wrote for him to score political points and tarnish our record of success for the people of Indiana and the integrity of our elections. You may ask why my office and myself are being targeted by political insiders and power brokers. And I believe the answer is clear. I stood with President Trump and supported redrawing our congressional maps, while Treasurer Elliott stood with Rod Bray in opposition to the president and redrawing the maps. Yes, Diego, very good. Keep going. Diego is insinuating that Daniel Elliott said he had someone illegally in the country working as his deputy chief of staff because Diego was for redistricting and Daniel Elliott was against it and is a tool of Rod Bray, the pro tem of the Senate. Stop, it's the family program. This is great. This is what needs to happen. Because Diego should not take the blame for Diego alone. Diego is a product of the system that propped him up, that promoted him, and enabled him. Daniel Elliott has known for 4 years what Diego was. Go back to 2022. He didn't really want any part of running with Diego. And someone should ask Elliott right now, would he run with Diego if Diego's the nominee? Daniel Elliott, Jim Banks, Todd Rokita, Mike Braun, Elise Nishala, all of them. They all have known what Diego is. I blame the House and Senate, too. Rod Bray, Todd Houston. What did they do? They fully funded his budgets. They gave him the money that he asked for. You know, like the money that was used for no-bid contracts for people that were mega donors to his campaign. The money that was used to buy the $90,000 car. The money that was used for state resources to film a campaign commercial. We don't know what money was used for India because he won't say. Other than, I pay! This guy is a total, Diego Morales, is a total sleaze bucket. But what does that make you if you know? If you know someone is a walking, talking, ethical time bomb, legal time bomb, totally corrupt, and you do nothing about it, and you're in a position to do something about it, what does that make you? That doesn't make you any better. And when the Republicans had a chance to do something about it, they don't say, hey, enough is enough. Here's the dirty on Diego. Time for him to go. We're behind David Shelton. Oh, no. They go find a Jim Banks stooge and then go, well, we'll just lie to everybody and tell everyone this is the most amazing guy who ever lived and that he's the reincarnation of Reagan and he's going to do a gajillion things that he has absolutely no power over. And that's Max Engling. Because it's not about fixing the system. It's not about rooting out corruption. It's not about getting politics out of a non-political office. Look, the Secretary of State is an administrator of the will of the General Assembly. That's it. That's all they're supposed to be. I see this Engling guy out promising to do this, and I'm going to do that, and blah, 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 blah. No, you're not. You will do it if the General Assembly says to do it. That's why the whole thing with Diego has been so ridiculous. Diego only has the power to do what the General Assembly tells him to do. This whole thing is a complete stain on the Republican Party. It's great for us. It's gold. It's absolute gold because it is so much more than just Diego. It's exposing to you who these people actually are in real time, and they can't hide it. I mean, they're trying to hide it. But if you actually look, they can't hide it. Guys, let me tell you about one of our fabulous sponsors. A great, great restaurant that is Hoosier through and through, and they have been with us for a very long time. The Honeysuckle Hill Bistro in Brazil, on the water, beautiful outdoor seating, scenic view, evening away, great food. You got to get there. Opportunity to relax, breathe, enjoy the outdoors, and a made-from-scratch meal. Or as they like to call it, Hoosier Grub. Honeysuckle Hill Bistro, Google them. You know, like Kirk Signetti, Google them. The Honeysuckle Hill Bistro. Awesome menu, incredible choices. They recommend the Hoosier tenderloin, hand-breaded. They think it's the best in the state. Down-home food made with love. As I said, guys, Andy and Jody, the owners, have been huge supporters of this show for a long time. Andy is making our sign. That's how much he loves this show. That badass sign that we've posted. It should be, we think maybe later this week we may end up having it. Don't know for sure yet. He was putting the finishing touches on it. Look, support people that support our show. Support people that are about good government, accountable government. It's a little bit of a trip, but it's totally worth it. Open Friday and Saturday for dinner. Oh, and by the way, this week, it's Friday for lunch. 1 week out of the month, Honeysuckle Hill Bistro opens on Friday for lunch. This is the week. So open for lunch and dinner this Friday, dinner on Saturday, and Sunday brunch buffet. Try something different. Reserve your spot today. Just Google Honeysuckle Hill Bistro, or call 812-443-3003. 812-443-3003. All right, we are just getting started on the Diego stuff, guys. We're going to take a real quick break. Let me catch my breath. And we've got so much more to talk about here. He wasn't done. I have so many questions about why Diego's pissed at Elliott and not Rokita and Banks and the rest of these guys who are the actual ones. Look, Elliott's a coward, right? Elliott wasn't going to say nothing until Banks and Rokita did. So why is he just pissed at Elliott? Banks and Rokita are way more to blame than Dan Elliott is. We got to talk about this mailer that Diego sent out, which is he's either the biggest troll that ever lived, or his campaign is on such fumes and so incompetent that we've got to just point and laugh. I got to tell you about this mailer that Diego sent out. We got so much stuff to get to. Nobody does local like us. Indiana news and politics and government. It's right here. We'll be back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
If authentic wood-smoked barbecue is your thing, Double D's Barbecue in Clayton is the place for you. Owners Dennis and Tina Duncan, along with their son Garrett, are from Memphis. So when it comes to barbecue, they're not screwing around. No pellet smokers, no roasters, just authentic wood-smoked Memphis-style barbecue. All of Double D's food is cooked fresh daily, and it's all made from scratch. Double D's Barbecue, located at 40 and 39 in Clayton, is open all day Wednesday through Saturday, but get there early because once they're sold out, they're done. Check out the full menu, ribs, brisket, and more at ddbbq317.com.
buying a home or thinking about refinancing? Work with someone local who understands the Central Indiana market. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps homebuyers and homeowners explore options for purchasing, refinancing, or even consolidating higher interest debt through their mortgage. Gary's approach is simple, clear advice, and personalized guidance so you can make confident decisions. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more or get started today. You've got nothing to lose but dollars on your mortgage payment. So call for a free, no-obligation quote, 317-695-5179. Gary Tedrow, NMLS number 179207 with Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender.
With a lakefront view in beautiful Brazil, the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage is a little out of the way, but totally worth the trip. Down home, made from scratch food, just like the good old days at Grandma's. When you visit the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage, you'll leave more at peace than when you came in. Open 5 to 8 for dinner on Friday and Saturday, and Sundays 11 to 1:30 for the buffet. You must experience the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage. Call 812-443-3003. 812-443-3003.
Your bathroom fan could be secretly costing you thousands of dollars in damages. Most people don't even know this until the damage is done. With over 18 years of bathroom remodeling experience, here are 3 signs your fan is failing you without spending a dime on inspections. Sign number 1 is if you have foggy mirrors after you shower. This shows that your fan isn't pulling out enough moisture, which creates the perfect environment for mold. If you have a properly functioning bathroom fan that is the right size for your space, you shouldn't see much fogginess on your bathroom mirror at all. Sign number 2 is if you have bubbling, cracking, or peeling paint in your bathroom. This means moisture is soaking into your walls, slowly breaking down drywall, and even causing the wood framing behind it to rot. Sign number 3 is if you have mold buildup on your fan, ceilings, or walls. This is terrible for your health, but also could wreck your bathroom, costing you a fortune. If you're noticing any of these signs, here's what you can do.
Call Vent Savvy today at 317-300-4434. That's 317-300-4434, and mention Rob for a free attic inspection. Rob Kendall Show. We're on a heater today. Tell your ma, tell your pa, tell your friends. Look, this Secretary of State stuff, I know we spend a lot of time on it, but that is what we do here. And damn, do we make it entertaining. What's the fill-in guy on IBC doing right now? Is he doing anything like this? No, of course not. You want local? You come here. Indiana news and politics and government. You're not going to get it anywhere else. Help us grow. Guys, I just checked. We are inside of 10 subscribers from hitting that magic 3,000 mark. As a small boy, my dream, I said someday, as a small boy in the 90s, I said someday I will have a YouTube channel and it will get 3,000 subscribers, and we are less than 10 away. We are less than 10 away. Make that happen today. Make a small boy's dream come true. While you're at it, hit that thumbs up button. Like this feed. You guys know you're liking what you're getting. Even you haters. Even you people who hate this show. You know you're liking what you're getting. Don't be a dine and dasher. Give us a thumbs up. We call it like, we call it share, we call it subscribe. Those are the 3 ways you can help this program continue to grow. Couple of other reminders. Don't forget, website, robkendallshow.com. That is the place. We got the live feed up there. We've got all the on-demand platforms. Welcome to all of our fabulous on-demand listeners, the Apple, the Spotify. You guys don't get enough love. I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, I got to find ways to give our on-demand listeners more love. Because, look, obviously we're live, 9 until noon, each day on YouTube. So we get, caught up in doing the live show, but we get thousands of people that are hitting all of these various on-demand platforms, and I just feel like you guys get ignored. So thank you to every single one of you, wherever you're listening from. If you're an Apple, if you're a Spotify, give us that 5-star review. Really helps us out. And also at robkendallshow.com, we have articles each day. Our favorite segments, we turn them into articles that you can read. Check those out. But the big ones, 1A and 1B. At robkendallshow.com, we have a support button. If you like what we do, if you enjoy this fabulous entertainment that Jason and I bust our asses minute after minute, day after day, hour after hour, you can support the show. All you got to do is just kick your feet back and enjoy the program. We'll do all the effort. hit that support button, whether it's $1, $10, $50, $5,000, whatever it might be. We appreciate the hundreds and hundreds of you who supported the Rob Kendall Show over our first 12 and a half weeks. Thanks to Erin yesterday. Super generous. Erin's one of our mega fans. She supported the show yesterday. Thank you to Erin. She sent a lovely email. I try to email every person who hits that support button. Erin sent just a great email back yesterday. And if I email you, I love getting emails back from you guys. Of course, I'm emailing to say thank you. But when you guys email back, I love reading how you found the show, how long you've listened. And Erin's a longtime listener, loves what we do. Thank you to Erin. So the support button's up there if you want to help us out. And if you're like, I want to support this show, but I'm also a selfish bastard too. I want something for me. We've got tickets to our live show, June the 27th. Mad Hatter Comedy Club Event Center. That's a great way where you can support our program, but also do something for yourself, which is get tickets to a great evening out. We're going to rock the house. We're going to laugh. We're going to have fun. We're going to roast politicians. I'm going to swear a whole bunch. Get your tickets now. RobKendallShow.com. We would love for you to be there with us. June the 27th. Great summer night. Mad Hatter Comedy Club Event Center. We'll see you there. Get your tickets. RobKendallShow.com. All right. So let's get back to the Secretary of State for a moment, shall we? And again, guys, stick around. Coming up here in just a little bit, David Shelton is going to be with us. He is the Knox County Clerk. He is running for Secretary of State. And he is going to tell us about how he believes he was bribed by the Indiana Republican Party to get out of the race when Diego was still the front runner, the job that he was offered. He'll talk about the job that he was offered in order to get out of the race. Look, these people are scumbags that we're talking about here. Like, this is why it's hilarious to me that they think, well, if we're rid of Diego, all our problems go away. No. No. Now, look, an aged potato skin would probably be more ethical than Diego. Anyone would be more ethical than Diego. But this is not like you're replacing Diego if it's this England guy with some Mr. Smith Goes to Washington character. You're not replacing him with somebody who's on your side. You're just replacing Diego with a less corrupt, and Max Engling may be a very nice guy. I don't know. I recall meeting him one time. He was at an event for Micah Beckwith. Talked to him one time. And he probably is. Although I don't give anyone the benefit of the doubt anymore. He probably is less corrupt than Diego and probably more ethical than Diego. Yeah, I mean, it's like jumping over an ant, right? Stepping over an ant. But he's still controlled by the party bosses. He will be controlled by the same people who lied to you about Diego Morales for 4 years. The same people. Rokita and Banks and the rest of the Good Time Fun gang who told you for years, oh, Diego's great. We endorsed Diego. We love Diego. And look, no amount of crapping on me by Todd Rokita is going to change the fact that Todd Rokita supported Diego Morales through and through. Todd, you can make whatever snide remarks you want about me. Doesn't change it. And everybody knows it. You're a fraud, Todd. They should change your name to Fraud Rokita. That's what we're going to call him from now on. Fraud Rokita. Because the thing about Rokita is, like, Diego's a dumbass. Rokita's actually a smart guy. He knew what Diego was. Follow the money. Follow the money. Fraud Rokita. Now Fraud wants you to believe, well, sure, I totally blew it on Morales. But this England guy, he's great. He's awesome. He's wonderful. Same thing with Banks. Oh, sure, I endorsed Diego. Oh, sure, I did nothing about Diego. Oh, sure, I told you how great Diego was. But this England guy, no, we got it this time. That's why me, right? I told you guys, hey, look, no more endorsements from me. I didn't want to do endorsements. I always kept hearing on the radio show, well, you never tell us who you're for. You always tell us who you're against. I said, all right, we'll take a flyer on Braun and Micah. And after that, what did I tell you guys? No more. Now, I will tell you, I think the most competent person by far running for Secretary of State on the Republican side is David Shelton. It ain't even close. The guy does the job for a living. He literally does the job right now. He administers elections. But we can't have that in the Republican Party. Competency, as we're going to talk about in a little bit with this Ken Paxton character, being above board, no. No. That's not what we're about anymore. I don't mind telling you that. But I'm not out here telling you, hey, in the fall, you should vote for David Shelton if he's the nominee. No, I'm out of that. I took a flyer and said, nope, not for me anymore. It's just easier to crap all over everyone. Because anytime you take a flyer on these people, you get burned by them. But Rokita, with the straight face, is like, sure, for years I told you Diego was awesome. And now I tell you he has so many scandals he needs to drop out of the race. But this England guy, he's the bomb.com. It's ridiculous. So Diego, now look, what's fascinating to me about Diego is he went at Daniel Elliott yesterday. He's real mad at Daniel Elliott. But he doesn't go at Rokita. He doesn't go at Banks or any of the other power people that have put him in this position. And let's face it, it's Banks and Rokita that have put Diego where he's at. Daniel Elliott doesn't have any power. Daniel Elliott's not a power player. I mean, and I'm not saying anything he hadn't said. He's Daniel Elliott. Every time he's like, I'm just a simple farmer. Okay. Well, you're a simple farmer in charge of billions of state dollars. But, simple farmer, right? I'm just a regular Beverly Hillbilly, right? That's how Daniel Elliott always portrays himself. But because didn't they put Jed Clampett in charge of billions and billions of taxpayer dollars? Wasn't that what they did after he went to Beverly Hills? But the real people who caused Diego to be in this position, because Elliott would not have said a word, just like he didn't say a word for 4 years, is Rokita and Banks. And yet, Diego has refused to criticize Rokita and Banks. Why? That's the question everybody should be asking. The same way you should be asking, why won't Rokita or Banks demand a criminal investigation into Diego's scandals that were so bad they had to withdraw their endorsement? Why won't Diego criticize Rokita and Banks? Again, follow the money, follow the power. Now, Diego did something yesterday that either shows that he is the biggest, most awesome troll who ever lived, and if we can get this for the next 3.5 weeks, my world is going to be amazing, or it's showing that his campaign is so incompetent that he might as well just become the biggest troll that ever lived for the next 3.5 weeks because it's over. I don't know which one it is. Let's try to make some sense of it. So, multiple delegates reported that Diego sent out a mailer. I've seen the mailer featuring the endorsement of Jim Banks that he has now rescinded. The whole mailer is Diego with Jim Banks and the verbiage of Jim Banks' endorsement. Now, Banksy pulled that endorsement a week ago. The post office be slow. I don't know if it'd be that slow. I know it takes time to make these things up and a blah, blah, blah. But there's a huge part of me that wants Diego Morales to be at the point in his life where he is, without the violence, he's the Michael Douglas character in Falling Down. You guys ever seen that movie? You ever seen that movie? Where he just wakes up one day and he's in traffic and he's decided he's had enough. Now, this guy does some pretty heinous stuff. I'm not in any way advocating for that. But I want Diego to be the political version of the Michael Douglas character, where he's just had enough. And the next 3.5 weeks, he's going to spend $1 million dinero burning this thing to the ground. And he's starting with, oh yeah, I'm going to send out a mailer with Jim Banks' endorsement on it. But Banks removed the endorsement. Who cares? F him. Make him explain it. That's part of me. Then there's the other part of me that wants Diego's campaign to be so disorganized, because we know a bunch of people have quit, that he sent out a mailer with Banks' endorsement after Banks pulled the endorsement. I don't know. these people are getting what they deserve. Don't feel sorry for any of these people. They all are part of the same rotten stew together. That's what everyone needs to realize. Whether it's Diego or Engling, who comes out of this race as Secretary of State, maybe by chance we'll get lucky and it'll be Shelton. Hell, who knows? Could end up surprising everyone and be Jamie Rittenauer. By the way, Jamie Rittenauer will be with us tomorrow. She is running for Secretary of State and on the Republican side. But I think most people think it's either going to be Engling or Diego. Maybe not. Could end up being completely wrong. But if it's one of those two guys, you still have the same problem, which is a totally corrupt, unethical, underhanded system that promotes people based on politics, not the job they're capable of doing for you. And so whether it's Engling or it's Diego, you have to punish these people this fall. This is your chance to hold the Republican Party accountable for all the crap they've pulled the past 10 years. All the tax increases, the lockdowns, the mandates, the silence, the utility bills, the data centers, all of it. The IEDC, everything. One shot. It doesn't matter who the nominee is. You got to punish them. Now, whether that's Ballard or it's Bai or it's Lori Schilling, the libertarian, whatever way you choose to do that, and while I'm not in the endorsement game anymore, come, I don't know, probably August or September, I'll lay out what the best strategy to do that might be. I'm out of the business of telling people who to vote for. I'll tell you what my thinking is when I vote. Happy to do that. You've got a real opportunity here. If you are sick of the Republican lies and deceit, corruption, unethical behavior, and I'm not just talking about in the Secretary of State's office. I'm talking about across the board. See the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. Do you really think, like when you read the Three Kings article in the Indy Star about the people that were running the IEDC, the IEDC is a glorified money laundering operation. It's a legalized money laundering operation. That's what the IEDC is. Has been for years. It's the same stuff, guys. Diego's just stupid and brazen about it. Like all these other shenanigans are going on. Most of the people in charge of those, you got to really look hard to find them because these people aren't idiots. Diego's an idiot. He is brazen about it. This is your opportunity to push back. Whether it's Ballard, whether it's Bai, whether it's Schillings, whoever. This is your opportunity to send a message to these clowns that you're done with them. It doesn't matter who the Republican nominee is, Engling or Morales. It's much bigger than the person. It's about a pattern of behavior from this party for years. For years. Look at Braun. Look at the Mid-States Corridor. Look at what Braun's done with that. He's used his position of influence for a decade plus now to try to spend billions of dollars to get a road built that will benefit his business. Is that any better than Diego? Braun just quietly has gone about it behind the scenes, and until we got a hold of it, nobody knew about it. Is that any better? Micah Beckwith went to the NBA Finals, accepted a lavish gift from a high-profile known felon who went down for federal bribery charges. Then when he got asked about it, he did the me so stupid routine. I just met him a couple times at some events, and he invited me to go. Right, because that's how it works. It was your magnanimous personality, Micah, is why he invited you. Right. The guy with a My Case file who reads like a CVS receipt. He thought, the pastor, that's the guy I'll be running around with. It was your holy aura, Micah. And we're led to believe that despite the fact that Micah has millions of dollars of staff, no one there knew how to use Google. Again, is it any different? Look at the lawsuit the state treasurer is involved in his hometown, his home county. We talked about it with this building that he's suing over now. Maybe he's right. Maybe he is just a victim of these nonprofits. Don't know. The point is, with one of these people after another, there's some deal. There's something. Like, we want to make Diego out to be the problem. No, the problem is the party. The problem is the Indiana Republican Party. People like Diego are symptoms of the party. It's the same people who keep doing the same stuff. And whether it's Mike Braun in the Mid-States Corridor, or the IEDC, or Tom Kleinhelter, or Diego, any of them, right? They're all tied into the same, they're all bound by the same thing, which is the Indiana Republican Party that only cares about hanging on to power. They only care about being able to wield authority. It's not about good government. It's not about you. It's not about any of that. Hey guys, is your driveway, is it showing signs of wear? Freeze-thaw cycles, road salts, environmental buildup like mold and dirt, it can all cause big, big problems for your concrete, whether it's your driveway, your patio, your sidewalk, any exterior concrete. It can get to looking really bad really fast, and that can be very expensive. Fix it. Cut it off at the pass. Save yourself a big amount of money in the long run. Call our friends at Seal Now, the clean seal and stain professionals. And they do more than just concrete, by the way, guys. Any outdoor wood service, too. Decks, fences, pergolas, you name it. They can bring it back to life. If it's outdoor, if it's wood, if it's concrete, Seal Now, they're your guys. Visit sealnow.com. See some of their work for yourself. Get a free estimate for your project. And when you mention, I heard about Seal Now on the Rob Kendall Show, what a deal this is. 20% off any long-term sealing project. 20% off any long-term sealing project. Seal Now. SEALNOW.com. All right. So we've got a big show coming up for you guys still left today. Coming up in a moment, David Shelton's going to be with us. He's going to talk about how he believes he was bribed to get out of the Indiana Secretary of State's race. Nikki Kelly will be with us from the Indiana Capitol Chronicle. She's back from vacation. We'll talk about this crazy political season we have entered. We're also going to talk about what's going on with Braun and the gas taxes and whether he can actually suspend the gas taxes again. Coming up tomorrow, we've got Jamie Rittenauer, Secretary of State candidate. We've got a ton of stuff to get to for you guys. Don't go anywhere. And guys, coming up here in a little bit, we're going to talk about what went down in Texas last night, about how the Republicans are taking a victory lap over this Ken Paxton, who is a complete scumbag. And we're going to talk about, like, where are we at as a society? Where are we at as a party? Where a guy like Ken Paxton is getting celebrated. Look, John Cornyn, the guy Paxton ran against, total establishment swamp creature, total weasel. But this Paxton guy, he is Diego on steroids. And I see Republicans across the country doing a huge victory lap that he is going to be the nominee for U.S. Senate. And just a reminder, we need less than 10 subscribers for 3,000. We're so close. I'd so love to get that today. I'd so love to celebrate 3,000 subscribers today. Boyhood dream as a small child. That's all I ever wanted. You don't know what they had in the 90s. We had lots of stuff. All right, so we'll take a break. When we come back, David Shelton will join us. He's going to talk about these just how this Secretary of State race is coming completely unraveled. He'll talk about how he believes he was bribed to get out of the race. We got a lot more coming. Like the show. Hit the thumbs up. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Hi, I'm Lauren Wilson, Realtor with App Properties. I would love to get to know you. I know that buying and selling a home is a really big deal. You need a plan in place so you can succeed. And that's where I come in. If you are buying, let me help you find that perfect home. And if you are selling, let me help you find that perfect buyer. Look, we're all Rob Kendall Show fans here. That's why I'd love to get to know you. I'm Lauren Wilson, Realtor with App Properties, an Army veteran and a Hoosier through and through. Call me at 317-590-2290, 317-590-2290.
Is your driveway showing signs of wear? Freeze-thaw cycles, road salt, environmental buildup like mold and dirt can all cause unsightly damage that can end up in an expensive repair. That's where Seal Now comes in. Seal Now are the clean, seal, and stain professionals that can help you protect your outdoor surfaces. Got a worn-out fence or deck? They can revive the look while providing long-term protection. Call today, 317-548-2002, or visit sealnow.com. Not only will you get a free estimate, but mention you heard about Seal Now on the Rob Kendall Show and receive 20% off any long-term sealing project.
Welcome back. It's the Rob Kendall Show. The Secretary of State's race is getting crazy. Let's find out how it's going for one of the participants. David Shelton, Knox County Clerk. David Shelton, hello.
Hey, Rob. How are you today?
Well, it's your guys' world, and I'm just living in it. All right. So obviously, you were the competitor to Diego. You were the opposition to Diego, and now all of a sudden, all Diego's rowdy friends have headed for the exit door, and there's a new cause du jour in the race. Max Engling. You've been watching this as a candidate. What in the world is going on?
It's just the crazy world we live in right now. I can't explain it. It's interesting to see somebody new jump in at the absolute last moment. But I'm in it for the long haul.
Did he jump in or was he tossed in? It sort of feels like a tossing occurred here.
That'd be a question for him.
Yeah, but I mean, what's wrong with you? This is what I keep asking people. You were a fine opposition. You're nonpartisan. Well, I mean, you're a Republican, but you administered elections. You're not a grenade thrower. You're a decent-looking human being. Like, why was, okay, we're leaving Diego, the scandals are too much, we'll go with Shelton. Why is that not occurring?
Because they know that I cannot be controlled. I cannot be bought. They know that I will dig into it. They're trying to, like you said, sweep everything under the rug.
That's right.
I'm ready to clean house, but I'm going to go through everything and expose it. And there's more than just the corruption. There's been cover-up as well. And they're scared to death that I will put it out there. Sunshine's the best disinfectant. They can't control me.
So I'm not wrong about that when I say they don't want Diego held accountable. Banks, Rokita, those guys, they want him to go away.
Absolutely. They're going to have some on themselves, when this is exposed, because, this hasn't just developed in the last week. Even with his deputy chief of staff, others have known about it for some time. I caught wind of it down in Vincennes. It was just me that took the initiative to look into her voter registration status to see if she'd ever been registered and get that out there.
Is there any possible way he couldn't have known she was a non-citizen?
No, none whatsoever.
Because they got to fill out forms and stuff, right?
They have
when
to
go
fill
work
out
for the
forms
state.
that they know. And, it's just another reason why, Diego and his staff has not have been able to obtain a security clearance.
That's a big point, right? Can you go into that for a second? Because that's part of the deal when they were talking about, well, what sort of golden parachute could they offer this guy to get out? He can't get a security clearance.
He can't get security clearance. I don't know if he can't. My information is he hasn't even applied because he knows he can't. There's too many foreign connections. His wife is the honorary consul to Hungary. For crying out
Sounds
loud.
like a name we used to make up when we were kids. What do you want to play today? Well, I'll be honorary consul of Hungary.
Mm-hmm. So, it's just really concerning. My information is he doesn't even get to participate in your regular Homeland Security briefings. He has to be briefed in by somebody else.
There's no way Banks and Rokita didn't know this, right?
None whatsoever.
And they endorsed him.
Yes, they did.
Why?
That's a question for them.
No, I'm asking you. Why do you think? I mean, there's no way they didn't know this stuff about this guy.
Everybody, when I say everybody who hasn't supported me has looked at it the wrong way. They're simply looking at the dollars. They are thinking that he is the only one to compete with the Democrat nominee, dollar for dollar. My counter to that is you look at the campaign finance reporting. You don't see the traditional Republican donors anywhere. I mean, I'm a challenger to an incumbent, but the normal donors are not donating at this time. That money will come. And even if I'm not as successful as, the Democrat nominee come this fall with a dollar amount, you don't need to match them dollar for dollar. I mean, you can raise and spend $1 billion and still lose in the fall. If you don't believe me, just ask Kamala Harris.
Well, and you guys run as a team, right? Like the statewide run as a, well, I don't think they'll be doing it if it's Diego. Oh, that Elliott Diego team would be quite the team, wouldn't it?
It absolutely would be a sight to see.
But that's just an excuse, right? It's like we have a competent guy who's no drama, who just wants to administer elections, and the Republicans are like, no, we can't have that. We got to pick our own guy. Why is this England guy the choice? It seems like on Facebook everybody's fallen in love with his pretty smile and nice hair. Is it over? Is it? Are we just coronating this guy? What's going on?
I mean, it's like the powers to be on both sides are just trying to put together the world's worst boy band for the fall, is what it seems like to me. I have the local government experience. I know how to clean up messes. I did it when I first became county clerk, and I will do that when I become Secretary of State as well.
David Shelton is our guest. He's running for Secretary of State. So what's your conversation with people like now? Obviously, you had a certain set of things you were talking about when it was I'm the anti-Diego. Now you're anti-Diego, and you got to point out this guy. Like, how have the conversations changed? What do you hear from delegates?
Well, I'm actually happy that Diego is still in it because my messaging doesn't have to change completely. I still have that same message, and you just now have to increase the message, the content, the topics. They're going to bring in new social issues, new outrages du jour to discuss, and I'm going to be there to point out the hypocrisy in there, the gaslighting. They're talking about things that the Secretary of State himself cannot change, cannot affect.
Yeah.
You can advocate for things, but I'm not making promises that I can't keep. None whatsoever.
Okay, so is everybody in love with England, or is it just some Facebook manufactured deal?
We won't know till June 20th for sure. I had a few people that I thought were supportive of me have quickly jumped ship. They've been told what to do.
You got to burn it down.
But traditionally, the delegates do not like being told what to do. I've seen more people outraged at this flip-flop on endorsements by other elected officials. They don't like being told what to do. They feel like they're having a candidate shoved down their throats.
That's worked against people in the past. The Mitch
Yes, it has.
Daniels with the Attorney General's race comes to mind. Are they just like quiet about it? Like, I'll show those guys.
Absolutely. They're very quiet. And that's what my campaign's been like from the get-go. I'm boring, but I'm doing a self-campaign.
I've told you that.
I know.
You got to not be boring.
I know.
That's the
why
problem.
I said that for your benefit.
And I love you. I think you're great. I think you'd be great at the job, but I think you got to be mean to people sometimes.
It's a stealth campaign, quietly building support, building relationships, and people have seen what's going on in my race and other races. People are fearful of political retribution. They don't want to put their name out there. They definitely don't want their name on campaign finance reports, because they go through everything. I mean, they've done a good job at Oppo research. Everything about me has come out except for one thing, and I'll confess to you.
Great, you're breaking news.
The only thing that
Dirt on yourself.
Oppo research hasn't exposed was about 23 years ago. I won a karaoke contest at a local bar.
Exciting.
I sang "It's Your Love" by Tim McGraw and Faith Hill.
Can you sing?
I sung the Tim McGraw part.
Yeah, but I mean, like you sing? Is it like a legit thing?
I really don't know. My wife says no. I think I can, but yeah. Key to my campaign right now: don't do anything dumb.
Yeah, I was going to ask you to build out a few notes, but I don't want to take you down.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that for a second, because these same people now, many of them who have hopped off Diego and onto this England guy, were just feigning outrage over the fact that your wife owned a law-abiding business, and
Correct.
that was not that long ago. And I told you, I said, welcome to the party, pal. That's who these
Yep.
They have no morals, no scruples, no anything. It's all about whatever. They're the minions of whoever, and whatever that person says to do, they do.
There's been a lot of, some pearl clutching. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Showing outrage over this, but everything that Diego had done up until a week ago was okay.
The disappearing to a foreign country for 10 days, the palling around with a known felon who went down on federal bribery charges, that was fine. But your wife having a law-abiding sex toy business was just too much.
Yeah, and it was just a side business and a small segment of that business.
I hope she made a bunch of money.
She was able to provide for us to go on a couple family vacations.
That's great.
But she quit doing that a couple of years ago.
Are you mad now? Like, are you angry? Because I told you were dealing with a bunch of rotten scoundrels. Are you pissed off now?
I'm irritated. Mildly irritated, but, years of being in local politics, I have thick skin. I have restraint. And that's what's needed for any office, I want to run the Secretary of State's office as a business free of partisan political rhetoric. The office has been greatly politicized by the current office holder. I think that politicization will actually increase if Max is successful. You look at his handlers, I am running to become the Secretary of State for all of Indiana.
They're trying to sweep Diego under the rug, right?
They are.
I mean, they don't want him held. That's why I'm pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be one thing if they came out and said, okay, here's all the stuff he did. Ryan Mears, do your thing. We're demanding a criminal investigation, inspector general investigation. They're not doing any of that, though.
No, nothing. Well, I've been hearing rumors. There's an inspector general's report. And I'd been hearing rumors last month prior to last week that, that report may be lost for a time being. But now I'm hearing rumors again starting this weekend that, there may be more information coming out since he refused his so-called golden parachute.
Yeah.
He may be public enemy number one right now.
Okay, so what do you do over the next month? Like, what's your pitch? What do you do? Do you just show up at random people's houses that are delegates and say, hello, I'd like to talk to Mr. Smith? How does it work? What do you do?
Well, we still have several events. I've got 3 or 4 events this week and next week and a week after that. It's just delegate outreach, trying to get to them one-on-one. We have an event in Hancock County Thursday. Friday, I have a meet and greet in LaPorte County. Saturday's Lake County Lincoln Day dinner.
Do people lie to your face? Do you try to figure it out? They're like, yeah, I'm with you, man. It's going to be great. I got 3 votes. 3,000 people said they were voting for. Have you figured out when people are lying to your face?
Well, the only time you can tell they're not lying to you is when they say they're not voting for you. That's the only time they're telling the absolute truth.
Because I did that just to screw with people when I was a delegate, to see how many people thought they had my vote.
And I have a lot of delegate friends have related to me that with all these text messages that Diego sent out, they're pledging support to him on these text messages. It's just huge numbers. So you just never know.
All right, so here's my offer that I made to you, and I made it in private, and I will make it here. If you feel like you need some juice, I will introduce you at the convention, but it's going to be 99.3% just roasting everyone you're running against, and then I'll say, and here's Shelton.
Now, you only have 2 minutes.
Oh, I can get it all in, man.
Okay,
I'm a trained professional.
All right, I'm awful wordy. I don't know if I could do it in 2 minutes.
Oh, yeah, no. Time's not going to be of the factor here. I can say it all. I need about 30 seconds. The rest will be just extracurricular participation.
Our campaign, this campaign in general, is fluid. There's so many moving parts and so many changes coming on a daily basis. Your offer is being seriously considered.
And boy, we would let it. Would they allow me up there? Can they stop you? Can they be like, nah, because I banned me from the Lincoln Day.
I will assure that you have the proper credentials.
Oh,
I get
so exciting.
5 all access passes. A couple of them are going to my kids.
My kids and Rob. That's who I brought as my good luck charm.
I'll be having Department of Family Services checking that on me the week after.
Well, it's just frustrating that, you have a good guy who wants to do the job right, and the Republicans are just like, no, we can't. We can't have that.
It's just been really frustrating. I've said it over and over again. I'm not looking for fame. I'm not looking for glory. You're in the wrong business. I'm looking for additional responsibility because, running elections is an absolute passion of mine. I just recently had a call on the way up here today from a judge in Clay County. I'm being appointed to a recount in Clay County on a local election. I'm supposed to be spending my time reaching out delegates, but public service comes first, and I'll devote a day to help Clay County out.
That's
all.
all.
Next couple weeks.
Well, you've seen the Clay County court system. They need some help with what they just went through.
Yeah, I'm not going to comment on that at all. I'm here for a local recount, and that's all I know.
Okay, so if people are wondering how stressful is all this, you always seem very calm. I would be just going ballistic. I would be doing Facebook and Twitter videos left and right, and I would be accusing people of all sorts of crimes against humanity. You seem very calm about all of this.
Oh, I want a last shot. I do, but like I stated earlier,
it feels good.
Thick skin and restraint. It is an absolute emotional roller coaster. It really is. There are days where I wake up and man, that was pretty nasty yesterday. Why am I doing this? Do I want to continue to do this? And what I keep coming back to every day, every time I have those moments of self-doubt, I truly believe that if I drop out, there's nobody else to step up to do it for the right reasons. I know where my heart is, and I'm doing it for the right reasons.
Did they bribe you to get out of the race?
I was offered the job of co-director of the Indiana Election Commission or Division. It was not said you're going to have to drop out to take this job, but it was inferred. It's understood because
who came to you and said that?
The Republican Party makes nominations for this position. They are supposed to come up with 2 names. They provide that to the governor. The governor makes the final pick out of those 2 people. The call came in about 5 hours after they submitted the resignations. And then a few hours after that, I got a call from my congressman encouraging me to take the job.
The congressman?
Well, he did. Now, I don't think he was in on it. I think he truly believes that would be a good job for me. I do good at it. And I'll tell you what, the offer was appealing because I could do what I want to do, help administer elections, help educate and guide county clerks, and I wouldn't have to go to Lincoln Day dinner. So it had a lot of appeal. And further research revealed that job pays $20,000 more base salary than the Secretary of State's office did.
Yeah.
But the optics were terrible.
Yeah.
I'm not for sale. I don't have a price.
Did you feel like it was a bribe?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. I mean, it's totally, and this is the thing about
What do
you.
you think?
It's well, of course, you know what I think about these people.
And then the kicker is, that position is a 4-year appointment. The current appointment ends at the end of this year.
So they would have thrown you out.
Yeah, 6-month job.
Yeah. And this is the thing. It's you have done all the right things, and then they keep saying, no, we can't.
Mm-hmm.
We can't have that. Okay, before we let you go, in 2014, I was that's the one time I was a delegate. I went out undefeated. I'm never running again.
Okay.
I will always be victorious at the delegate race. It was Kelly Mitchell at the for the treasurer.
And she was not the favorite going into that convention.
And so it was Siebold and Bates,
mm-hmm.
and they hated each other,
mm-hmm.
and it was who's going to win, and then she was just there, and she didn't make anybody angry. And then at the very end, after the initial vote tally, they were both like, well, we don't want either one of those guys to get it. So
mm-hmm.
the votes go to her, and then she wins. Could that be you?
I think so. I'm hoping they duke it out and leave me alone. Like I said, I'm glad Diego's still in it. I'm almost glad that, Max is in it. He's a tall guy. I can actually use the term David versus Goliath and not look ridiculous. But, like David, I still have a few slings or stones that I can sling if need be.
Yeah.
But I still want to make this a campaign, a race about the issues, what I can do, what I bring to the table.
Well, I hope it goes well.
Me too.
Sorry for any votes I cost you. But I consider you to be the most qualified person.
Thank you.
And that usually doesn't bode well at Republican conventions, but I'm hoping you're the difference this time. If people want to know more about you, how can they do that?
Campaign website, Shelton for Indiana. Same on Facebook, and on Twitter, it's Shelton, FORIN. on Twitter X.
All right. Good luck.
Thanks, Rob.
All right. We'll take a break. Be back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Is your driveway showing signs of wear? Freeze-thaw cycles, road salt, environmental buildup like mold and dirt can all cause unsightly damage that can end up in an expensive repair. That's where Seal Now comes in. Seal Now are the clean, seal, and stain professionals that can help you protect your outdoor surfaces. Got a worn-out fence or deck? They can revive the look while providing long-term protection. Call today, 317-548-2002 or visit sealnow.com. Not only will you get a free estimate, but mention you heard about Seal Now on The Rob Kendall Show and receive 20% off any long-term sealing project.
Industry experts address moisture intrusion, failing foundations, masonry deterioration, and more. From preserving historic landmarks to addressing modern building envelope issues, Bramwell Mackay delivers full-spectrum service with white-glove professionalism. In Indianapolis, call 812-33-BRICK. 812-33-BRICK.
Your bathroom fan could be secretly costing you thousands of dollars in damages. Most people don't even know this until the damage is done. With over 18 years of bathroom remodeling experience, here are 3 signs your fan is failing you without spending a dime on inspections. Sign number 1 is if you have foggy mirrors after you shower. This shows that your fan isn't pulling out enough moisture, which creates the perfect environment for mold. If you have a properly functioning bathroom fan that is the right size for your space, you shouldn't see much fogginess on your bathroom mirror at all. Sign number 2 is if you have bubbling, cracking, or peeling paint in your bathroom. This means moisture is soaking into your walls, slowly breaking down drywall, and even causing the wood framing behind it to rot. Sign number 3 is if you have mold buildup on your fan, ceilings, or walls. This is terrible for your health, but also could wreck your bathroom, costing you a fortune. If you're noticing any of these signs, here's what you can do.
Call Vent Savvy today at 317-300-4434. That's 317-300-4434 and mention Rob for a free attic inspection.
Welcome back. Rob Kendall Show. We're doing 3 hours a day, mostly Indiana news, politics, and government. You can't get anywhere else. If you haven't done so yet, hit that little thumbs up button. Like this program. That really helps us grow, and we are dependent upon you guys. We call it like, share, subscribe. That's the way you can help us grow every single day. Like the feed there live on YouTube. Share it out, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you got. Let people know we're here. And, of course, we're closing in, so close to that magical number of 3,000 subscribers. You guys are awesome. All right. We're going to talk about what the hell we're doing in this country, what the hell the Republican Party's doing. But first, before we do that, Lauren Wilson, realtor with At Properties. She knows that buying or selling a home, usually both, right, is a massive adventure, and you need a pro. You need an advocate. You need someone on your team from start to finish. That's what she is. She's a Hoosier lifer. She's a military vet. She would love to get to work for you, getting the maximum price for your home if you got one to sell, and putting you in the place you're going to be happy for years to come. The big guys, hey, they're fine, but they got a lot of clients. Lauren Wilson, she wants to work for you. Get to know her. And she always encourages you. This is the thing I love about Lauren. She says, interview your realtor. Don't just take my word for it. Don't just take her word for it. Interview, shop around. We think you'll like what you have to hear, what you see with Lauren Wilson. Realtor with At Properties. 317-590-2290. 317-590-2290. All right, guys. I'm not even being facetious when I ask this. I'm not trying to be a smart ass. I have no idea what the Republican Party is anymore. I mean on policy, I mean on people. I don't know. And this is really a question for you guys in the YouTube chat. Because when I first got involved in politics, I think I've told you guys this before, but by the way, for all our new viewers, welcome. Thanks for being with us. So pleased to have you. Hope you stay a while and enjoy the program. I first got in politics in the late 2000s. I was really drawn. I was always a voter. I owned a small business, but I didn't really pay that close of attention to it. And I was really drawn into politics here locally when I started seeing the property tax rallies at the Indiana Statehouse in 2007, 2008, and the property tax fights that ultimately culminated in property tax caps in the state of Indiana. And I remember like being a Republican, a casual Republican, and then watching these people and watching the parties and starting to kind of realize like what would make you actually a Republican other than, hey, the Republicans are the party of low taxes, right? And one of the things that was very appealing to me was that, one, the Republicans seemed the party of the bigger tent, right? Like I didn't feel like I really fit in anywhere, but of all the places, the Republicans, I sort of had the most amount of their views, and they seemed the most open. Like they seemed the most, hey, you can come in here and we're going to tolerate you, right? We may not agree with you. We may not prop you up as a poster child for the party. But like when I ran for public office and won, I'm not that much different than I am today. I'm much more informed about how it all works. I'm a lot more jaded about it all. I'm a lot less optimistic. But in terms of my views and my personality, it wasn't that much different. And I was welcomed. Like they were like, it's a young guy. We need more young people in our party. It's a young dude. Like, let's embrace this guy. Let's invite him to stuff. Let's ask him to go to things. I'm banned now. That's how far we've come. And I was like, okay, like there's a lot of Republicans I don't agree with. We can have that battle. But I feel like this is a place that invites free thought. It invites accountability, I guess, for lack of a better term. And the other thing about Republicans that I liked was Republicans police their own. Republicans, I felt like, were very good at saying there are certain things, certain people we ain't going to tolerate. And it wasn't about views. It was about behavior, how you carried yourself in the office. And maybe I was naive to that. Maybe I even imagined it. But that's what I felt the Republican Party was about. I felt like it was the party of free thought, vast array of ideas, and they police their own. And I look at what the Republican Party is now, and it's like that thing I started with is gone. Like you look at how any person who at all disagrees with Trump gets an entire portion of the internet to, in a very mean-spirited fashion, turn against them, attack them, go after them. See Thomas Massey. That's over with. There is no free thought in the Republican Party now. There really are no ideas in the Republican Party now. The Republican Party really is becoming whatever Trump wants. And it's not around a core set of convictions. They put a name on it, right? They call it America First. But what does that even mean? There is no battle of ideas anymore. There is no, hey, this person thinks this and this person thinks this, and okay, reasonable people can disagree, and then we'll meet back because we're all on the... No, it's not. We're not on the same team anymore. You're either all on Trump's team or you're done. And we also, as a part of this, where the Trump absolutism has become the only thing that matters, we're no longer policing our own. Like, look at Diego Morales. What is his selling point now? In that press release he sent out to the delegates, or that letter he sent out to the delegates. By the way, everybody said call Diego. Is that right? Okay, I'll do it today. I will call him today. I wonder if he's got caller ID on his phone. He wouldn't have your number in there. No, that's right. He wouldn't. Maybe he has it in there anyway, just in case. He's like, if Kendall calls, I'm going to know it's him. How do you think Diego answers the phone? That's what I'm most curious. You the man. Is it Diego, you the man, go. Like, what do we do here? That's what I want to know. Diego, I'm calling you later today. I want to know how you answer the phone. But see, Diego Morales, what's his selling point? Yeah, okay. Okay, sure, I hired a non-citizen, right? But I've been loyal to Trump. Like all the stuff through the whole thing, like even in these endorsements these guys were throwing out. Like Diego's loyalty to Trump was what they were hanging their hat on before they then unendorsed them and unhung their hat on him. we don't police our own anymore. And last night was another example of this, in which voters in Texas nominated Ken Paxton to be their U.S. Senate candidate to take on Tallarico, the Democrat who's running this fall. And Ken Paxton was running against John Cornyn. So the way Texas works, a little different than here in Indiana. In Texas, they have a primary like we do. But if no one gets to 50% plus one of the vote, then you have what's called a runoff, where the top two vote getters then run in another election. This to me is the most stupid way, the absolute most stupid way to do an election. There's an election. You vote. Somebody gets the most votes. That person wins. That's not how they do it in Texas. And so I believe Cornyn actually won the primary. Like the actual primary, Cornyn got the most votes. John Cornyn is what was Paxton's opponent. Cornyn's kind of a weasel. He's been in the Senate since 2002. Very establishment type figure. But when you put his resume up against Ken Paxton, it's like, okay, I guess I'll take the establishment weasel. So Cornyn actually won the primary, got the most votes. But then Paxton and Cornyn got the most votes. Neither one of them got close to 50%. So they had a runoff. And that was last night. And the voters picked Ken Paxton. And not only, did the voters of Texas pick Paxton, which is their right, Trump endorsed Paxton, which is why he won. And the internet community was fawning over Paxton because Trump endorsed Paxton. But I know I've done this before on this show, but let me read you Ken Paxton's resume, shall we? He's currently the Attorney General for Texas. In 2015, Paxton was indicted over accusations of defrauding investors. This went on for 9 years, guys. And in 2024, Paxton made a deal with prosecutors in which he agreed to pay almost $300,000 in restitution and complete 100 hours of community service. Now, they ultimately dropped the charges as part of this. But if you agree to pay that money back and you agree to community service, that, well, I don't know if it's technically guilty or not, that sounds guilty to me. In 2020, but wait, there's more. We're just scratching the surface. In 2020, Paxton was also accused by 8 members of his senior staff, 8 people who worked for him, of taking bribes from a real estate developer and abusing his office. The aides reported Paxton to the FBI, which then launched their own investigation. Paxton later fired 4 of these people, the whistleblowers, which resulted in them suing on claims of retaliation, and they won $6.6 million. That FBI investigation, along with the complaints from the whistleblowers, prompted the Texas Statehouse, which is run by Republicans, to impeach Paxton on 20 articles. The Senate later failed to acquit, or later failed to convict him. They acquitted him on 16 and dismissed 4 others. As part of that impeachment, prosecutors alleged that the real estate developer Paxton had allegedly been bribed by hired Paxton's girlfriend so that the two could meet in secret in Austin. The only problem with that, Paxton was married at the time. Oh, and Paxton's wife, she was a member of the state Senate. So you've got a guy paying hundreds of thousands of dollars in restitution for essentially defrauding investors. 100 hours of community service is a part of that. His senior staff, like people he had elevated, blew the whistle on him for alleged bribery, which resulted in his own party impeaching him. Oh, and he was also allegedly fooling around with his wife, who was a member of the Senate. And yesterday, not only were Republicans like, give me some of that, the internet community was elated because Trump had endorsed him. Like victory laps, like, oh my gosh, thank God Ken Paxton is here. Like, hey, one little thing or one thing, hey, people get falsely accused all the time, right? But when we're on thing like 4 or 5, it's like the same thing with Diego. You aren't a victim on everything. There are times where people get wrongfully accused. It does happen. But when it's over and over and over, and it's multiple people telling the same accounts, guys, what are we doing? It's one thing to not like John Cornyn. Okay, great. Fabulous. There with you. But it's another thing to be celebrating the fact that this guy, this guy is one of the last people, given his repetitive behavior, you should want in charge of trillions of dollars. Taxpayer money. Here's what's fascinating to me is, and look, guys, we're going to find out this fall. We're going to find out this fall what Trump's actual standing with the American public is. Now, as we talked about the other day, the one thing Trump has going for him, even though the American public in poll after poll after poll absolutely hates him, is that they really dislike the Democrats too. And this may end up being one of these totally bizarre years where the party in power somehow clings on to power. Probably not. Trump is so unpopular, and if you look at the history of this country, I would be floored if the Democrats don't take the House of Representatives. I think there's a puncher's chance they can take 4 Senate seats and get the Senate too. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. Because of the redistricting that's taken place, the Republicans will pick up a few seats. And look, I also don't think there's going to be some 2010 Obama-type bloodbath where the opposing party gets 62 seats. But if you look at the history of Trump when he is either not on the ballot or unpopular, 18, 20, 22, Trump candidates don't do well. The Republicans lost multiple Senate seats in 2022 in a Republican year because Trump went behind squirrels. See Dr. Oz. Dr. Oz lost to a guy at one point said, hi, good night, everybody, in the debate. Fetterman with the big bulge sticking out of his neck. Like, Trump does not have a good track record when he is not on the ballot. It's not great. And yet, the Republicans are doing this like victory lap because, well, Trump guy won in a primary. Okay. Last night, Paxton said, quote, President Trump is a leader of our party, and his endorsement is the most powerful force in politics. That's not true at all. Donald Trump's endorsement in a Republican primary is the biggest mover. Absolutely. Absolutely. But last time I checked, if you're in any sort of swing district or swing state, the primary doesn't get you the office. The primary doesn't deliver victory. You got to win a general election. And for some reason we have now made, look, he's the president of the United States, guys. Why are we acting like it's some big deal that the president of the United States can win, his endorsement can win primary elections for people? Wouldn't that be the story if it couldn't? Like, wouldn't the story be president loses endorsement, endorsed candidate loses? Like, wouldn't that be the story? Wouldn't we expect, whether it's Bush or Obama or Clinton or whoever, that the sitting president should be able to deliver in primaries? And yet we keep acting like everybody's so surprised by this. Why would anybody be surprised? It's not victory where it matters, which is the general election. And Ken Paxton, what are we saying about ourselves when we're doing happy dances? We're a guy who defrauded investors, who is impeached over bribery, who's screwing around on his wife as the sitting attorney general. Look, what people do in their own marriages is their business. but it becomes the public business when you're a public office holder. I don't care what you do in your marriage. I don't care. Unless you're taking my tax money. Unless you're trying to win a public office where you can tell me what to do, then I get to care. Your business is your business until you're telling me how to live my life. Then I get to know about your business. Ken Paxton is a nightmare. And in the modern Republican Party, we are celebrating it. In the modern day Republican Party, we are saying this is awesome. Why is this awesome? You don't have to be for Cornyn. You don't have to like the establishment. You don't have to like the direction of the country. But are we lying to ourselves? Like, are we such a grifter society now? That's where I think we're at. Where whatever Trump says, there's so many people who believe their key to elevation rests around Trump orbit pushing you forward. That they'll just say anyone is great. Ken Paxton is not great. Ken Paxton's a dirtball. Does anybody think that this guy is going to go into Washington and do right for them? Look at how he's handled his affairs so far as an elected official. Look how he's handled his personal life as an elected official. When somebody which appears to have so little self-control, you think that person's going to go into the Washington swamp and be a fighter for you? By the way, the Cook Political Report, for those of you who don't know, that is an organization named after is it Charlie Cook? I think was the guy's name. Well, anyway, he was a pollster. He became famous years later. He would rate Senate races, and he, based on who the nominees were, what they were seeing on the ground, they would read polls, they would interpret it, and it's sort of kind of been one of the gold standards people have used based on, and the parties use based on, hey, who do we pump money into? What races do we really get behind? The Cook Political Report shifted its rating of the Senate race from likely Republican to leans Republican as soon as Paxton was declared the nominee. Citing, quote, Paxton's litany of ethical lapses for Democrats to exploit, they have moved the race. So it still leans Republican, like it still may go Republican. It's more likely to go Republican than Democrat, but not, hey, let's pack it up. Ken Paxton being the nominee and Tallarico, who is the new golden boy for the Democrats, means the Democrats are going to spend $1 gajillion in Texas. Ken Paxton being the nominee feels very similar to Richard Murdoch being the nominee in Indiana in 2012. Now, Richard Murdoch didn't have personal scandals. He wasn't accused of the things Paxton is. For those of you who don't know, most of you are longtime political observers, Richard Murdoch was the state treasurer in 2012 in Indiana. He ran in a Republican primary against Richard Lugar. Richard Lugar, of course, was a longtime Republican senator, at one point had run for president, was a beloved Indiana political figure. And Murdoch ran hard to Lugar's right, said Lugar was too old, he'd been there too long, he was too cozy with Obama. And Lugar smoked him in the primary the same way Paxton smoked Cornyn yesterday. And people, and myself included, right? We're like, oh, thank God we're done with Richard Lugar, right? Thank God we're done with Lugar. The problem was that Murdoch was a bad candidate. Murdoch's bad candidacy was not scandals. He personally he's a fine man. His bad candidacy was he came off as a weirdo. By the way, Richard Murdoch was a brilliant person. He struggled to human, but he was a brilliant person. He was a gemologist. He was a Lincoln historian. I mean, IQ off the charts. But he came off as very abrasive. He came off as very unlikable. He alienated a lot of the establishment Lugar Republicans, not just because he won, but the way in which he won. And these people were looking for a reason to bail on him. And then, of course, Richard Murdoch, in the last U.S. Senate debate, made a horrible comment about abortion and rape, and his campaign imploded because everyone was looking for a reason to bail on him. And he gave it to them. And he lost. He lost to Joe Donnelly. The Paxton campaign and the Paxton the person, it feels very Richard Murdoch-y waiting to happen. Not because of that Murdoch had the same personal issues, but just because there's a huge swath of the Republican Party that was looking for a reason to bail on Murdoch, and there appears to be a huge swath of the Republican Party that looks for a reason to bail on Paxton. And Tallarico is going to get millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars of earned media and publicity, and they're going to make him the golden boy. And the first thing Tallarico did, and this is really brilliant. Look, I'm not saying Tallarico is a great candidate. He has Beto vibes to me. I'm not saying there's substance there. I'm not saying he's great. I'm not saying I'd vote for him. I'm telling you I've seen this play out before. The first thing Tallarico did, this was his quote after the election. I want to thank Senator Cornyn for his years representing our state. We don't agree on everything, but we both believe in public service. To Senator Cornyn's supporters, you have a place in our campaign. That's a really good first opening salvo. That's really smart. And again, my question to the people of Texas and the people on the internet who are happy, all of this for a complete scumbag? All of this for Ken Paxton? What are you winning if Ken Paxton wins? What are you getting that you're so excited about? What's the thing that you're like, we'll show him. That'll show him. Paxty's going to be in there, baby. The guy who was impeached over bribery, the guy who defrauded investors, the guy who was allegedly screwing around on his wife while his wife's in the Senate working. That's it? That's your guy? That's what we're proud of? I don't know what the Republican Party is. And look, I don't expect anybody to be Mother Teresa. I don't care about your personal life. I don't care what you do until you're in public office. Then I care. When you and I don't even care until the guy's running to now lord over my life. Like, I didn't give a damn about it when he's the Attorney General of Texas because I don't live in Texas. I am, however, a citizen of the United States, unlike apparently the woman who was the Deputy Chief of Staff for Diego Morales. I am a citizen. And as a citizen of this country who pays taxes, who Ken Paxton will be in charge of, this scares me to death. Because not only is he a scumbag, he appears to be a scumbag with zero self-control. Zero self-control. Zero self-restraint. He appears to be a guy, just like Diego Morales, who believes he's entitled to whatever he wants and he can get away with whatever he wants. That is a recipe for disaster. It's also a recipe to lose the seat. To lose the seat. What are we doing? What are we as a Republican Party? I don't have any idea anymore. Hey guys, got a leaky chimney, water in your basement, cracks around the exterior of your home? Bramwell Mackay Property Services and Consultants is your authority for chimney repair, tuck pointing, foundation repair, crawl space to basement conversions, basement waterproofing, and more. Bramwell Mackay, they don't just offer quick patches. Their team of 40-year master masons and industry experts address the root cause and provide solutions that last lifetimes. Your home is one of your biggest investments. Treat it that way. Bramwell Mackay, BRAMWELLMCKAY, BramwellMackay.com, your masonry foundation and chimney specialist. Guys, we're within 2 subscribers of 3,000. Don't you want that to be your claim to fame in life? I was subscriber number 3,000 to the Rob Kendall Show. If you've been on, I feel like the QVC guy now. If you've been on the fence, what was Don West? Wasn't that the guy's name that used to sell all the stuff? What, the guy that I used to wake up when I was growing up every morning before school. I would wake up, and you guys remember you used to be able to turn on QVC, and there would be people like selling stuff. And Don West would sell sports memorabilia. He would sell baseball cards, all sorts, and it was junk, right? You don't know it as a kid because it all looks awesome to you as a kid, but it's junk. As an adult, I know it was junk. And that guy, I think Don West was the guy's name. I remember watching that guy at 10, 11 years old, thinking, I want to be that dude. And the people would call and be like, Don, you're amazing. I didn't even know I needed this stuff. And you've convinced me. I'm putting it away for my kids' college education. And I'm sure all that stuff has lost money because it was junk. But Don West, he would be on there. He would be on there making the sale. One more. That's what Don West would do. I only got 25 of these left to go. We've only got 1 subscriber left to get to 3,000. Oh, man. I think that guy died a few years ago. And that dude, he ended up becoming a professional wrestling announcer after he left because obviously over time people like stopped buying stuff off some guy screaming at you on television. And I think he ended up being a pro wrestling announcer. But you have an opportunity right now as me looking in, selling you that, unlike selling you that totally worthless 89 Tops junk that didn't account for anything. I'm telling you, you have a chance to make a difference in history and become subscriber number 3,000 to the Rob Kendall Show. Guys, have you heard about this? This was a fascinating story to me. There's a website. It's called Kalshi. Have you guys heard about this? Kalshi, Kalshi. And Kalshi essentially allows people to bet on politics in the state of Indiana. Now, betting, and across the country. Now, betting on politics is illegal in this country, but this Kalshi website has figured out a way to make this happen. So what Kalshi is, it's a prediction market in which you're not betting on, somehow legally through the wording, they have figured out a way that through becoming a prediction market, you can bet on what you think is likely to happen, and that's the legal way to bet on politics. And so states now are trying to figure out how to deal with this because the federal government, unlike sports betting, so in 2018, the Supreme Court said, we did it! 3,000! Hot damn! You guys are great. Whoever you were, you're a real one. You're a hero. And thanks to all 3,000 people who have been with us throughout the last 12 weeks. You guys are awesome. Anyway, so in 2018, the Supreme Court allowed states to regulate sports betting. They said, hey, law emanated out of a lawsuit from New Jersey in which Las Vegas was the only people who could do sports betting. And New Jersey said, hey, this is ridiculous. Why does one state get a monopoly on this? And the state. The odds of someone becoming a congressman. And there is a huge amount of money being placed through this Kalshi website on our Secretary of State's race. $80,000 in trade volume. $80,000 on the Indiana Secretary of State's race. The chances right now, so you bet on chances, right? You bet on chances, the prediction market. It's like the stock market, basically. The prediction market right now puts Max Engling at 76% as of Tuesday afternoon. David Shelton is at 11%. Diego at 8%. Jamie Rittenauer, 0.5%. So you're betting, it's like the stock market. It's a prediction market. You buy based on where they're at, and then the stock essentially can go up or go down. So right now, Engling wouldn't pay you out a whole lot because he's the overwhelming favorite in the prediction market. So what do you guys think about this? Should we be able to actually bet on likely outcomes of elections? Here's my problem with the Secretary of State's race being eligible to be wagered on, essentially, right? They don't call it wagering. But the Secretary of State's race is voted on by delegates. Delegates pick the Secretary of State candidate. That means roughly 1,800 people, a little over 1,800 people get to decide this. This isn't a statewide election where everybody gets to participate. Like if you're betting on elections or in this prediction market on a statewide election, you can't really alter it that much. I mean, I guess you could give money or whatever. But in this case, if you're a delegate or you have the ability to sway delegates, all you got to get is just a little over 900 people. All you got to do is get a little over 900 people to say, hey, we're on board, and you could win huge money based on the prediction market. I don't know. How do you guys feel about that? What do you guys think? Let me know in the YouTube chat. I don't think I'm against betting on politics as long as there were real safeguards around it. I don't think I'd be against people betting on politics as long as there were real safeguards around it. Let me know what you think in the YouTube chat. But right now, in the prediction market, which Kalshi has the Indiana Secretary of State's race up, Max Engling is the overwhelming favorite. Hey, guys, it's Wednesday. That means Double D's Barbecue open for business. They're open Wednesday through Saturday right there in Clayton. Authentic wood-smoked Memphis-style barbecue. If you're thinking about something for lunch, if you're thinking about something for dinner, Double D's Barbecue is the place for you. The owners, Dennis and Tina Duncan, along with their son Garrett from Memphis, they take their barbecue serious. Their food is cooked fresh daily. All their sauces made from scratch. And by the way, here are the specials. It's Wednesday. That's Wing Day. If you're thinking about, well, I can't get there today, Rob. I can't get out to Clayton today. Thursday's loaded jumbo baked potato. Friday and Saturday are Mississippi farm-raised catfish. All sorts of great specials. Check out their Facebook page, Double D Southern Barbecue. That's where you can get all the information. They're located in Clayton, right on 40, right before you get to 39. Wednesday through Saturday. Get there early because once they're sold out, since all the food is made from scratch, it's done. They're done. Check out the full menu, ribs, brisket, and more. ddbbq317.com. ddbbq317.com. All right, we're going to take a little break. When we come back, Nikki Kelly is going to join us, and we will talk about a host of things with Nikki Kelly from the Indiana Capitol Chronicle. We're going to talk about this wild Secretary of State's race. We're going to talk about can Braun suspend the gas taxes again. We're going to talk about the investigations into gas price gouging in the state of Indiana. A lot to get to with Nikki Kelly when we come back. Hopefully the power stays on. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Hi, I'm Lauren Wilson, Realtor with App Properties. I would love to get to know you. I know that buying and selling a home is a really big deal. You need a plan in place so you can succeed. And that's where I come in. If you are buying, let me help you find that perfect home. And if you are selling, let me help you find that perfect buyer. Look, we're all Rob Kendall Show fans here. That's why I'd love to get to know you. I'm Lauren Wilson, Realtor with App Properties, an Army veteran and a Hoosier through and through. Call me at 317-590-2290. 317-590-2290.
Is your driveway showing signs of wear? Freeze-thaw cycles, road salt, environmental buildup like mold and dirt can all cause unsightly damage that can end up in an expensive repair. That's where Seal Now comes in. Seal Now are the clean, seal, and stain professionals that can help you protect your outdoor surfaces. Got a worn-out fence or deck? They can revive the look while providing long-term protection. Call today, 317-548-2002, or visit sealnow.com. Not only will you get a free estimate, but mention you heard about Seal Now on the Rob Kendall Show and receive 20% off any long-term sealing project.
It is the Rob Kendall Show, and oh my goodness, there is so much stuff going on with Indiana politics and government. Joined by one of the best in the business, the great Nikki Kelly from the Indiana Capitol Chronicle. Nikki Kelly, hello.
Hello. I go on vacation and things go crazy.
You are to blame for all of this. Every single little bit of it. Okay, let's start with obviously the Diego stuff, right? So have you ever seen en masse the Republican Party power structure just abandon some guy in like 1 or 2 days?
Yeah, that was pretty incredible. We've certainly seen, things in the past, like when all the congressional members suddenly came out in support of redistricting in a 3-hour period, or you know what I mean? So there are certainly times when talking points get sent out and that happens, but to find a completely new candidate, reverse course on endorsements, all in like a 24-hour period was pretty incredible. Definitely.
How Diego's come out, I don't know if you saw this as we're putting this together. Diego's come out with a statement about the woman in question, Elina Kupce. He does not deny that she was not a citizen. However, he says she was cleared to work. I don't know if that's going to fly. Let's say you.
Look, I here's the thing that I find funny is I can point to you 8 or 9 different major issues that any conservative should be concerned about in Diego Morales's office. Spending of money, contracting, donors, travel, nepotism. None of those seem to matter though, right? The only one that got through to the big people or the establishment was this non-citizen issue, which is kind of interesting because there's no law against hiring a legal non-citizen. She was here with legal papers. She was all this stuff started coming about saying she was an illegal immigrant or alien. Is that true? She had a federally approved temporary credential. You can hire those people, no problem. But that seemed to be the last straw for definitely Jim Banks and others.
Yeah, to me, the 10 days in India that he won't say who paid for the trip with the guys they're selling the visa access that goes on the trip with him. That's a bigger deal. But you're right, Nikki. These guys turned a blind eye to all of this stuff. You guys reported on it for years, and it was like this whole nothing to see here thing. And now this woman is the world's biggest deal.
Yeah, the straw that broke the camel's back kind of thing. And so that clearly was, I think I would be surprised if there wasn't maybe some internal polling that came back that maybe brought it to light right after the election, especially him losing his delegate race. Maybe suddenly they realized, oh crap, this is going to be harder to keep this seat if we don't pivot.
Because you obviously were working for another publication, but you were around when Murdoch imploded. Is the abandonment similar to what we saw with Murdoch?
No, I think it's much worse now because, there were still people who were very pro-life who were supporting Murdoch and said, I get that his words weren't great, but this is what he meant, kind of thing. And so I don't remember the abandonment being the same back then.
Mickey Kelly from the Capitol Chronicle is our guest, Indiana Capitol Chronicle. So are you guys, because we had Shelton on the program today, we're going to have Jamie Rittenauer on Thursday. Are you getting a feeling on the delegates, what they're doing, where they're going, what they're thinking? Because on Facebook, it seems like Max Engling is now the reincarnation of Reagan, but the internet's not real life. What are you hearing?
Yeah, we are doing delegate calls and talking to a number of people. Some of them are on the England train. Some of them say, I gave my word to support Diego, and that's what I'm going to do. So it's a bit of a mix. We're still working on that story, probably for Wednesday. So yeah, I mean, it just depends how far the marching orders are going down. And as we've seen in the past, delegates don't necessarily follow what they're told, right? I mean, Julie McGuire, that's who Governor Braun wanted for lieutenant governor, and they clearly went against that. So we know that they have their own mind, and it'll be interesting. And also by having 4 candidates, that normally if there's more than one opponent, that breaks in favor of the incumbent. And I hesitate, this is not a normal situation, but if you do enough vote splitting, except you have to get at least 51% of the votes, and because there are revotes, it's kind of like a runoff. So that could probably help Max Engling.
Yeah, I lied that when I was delegate one time, I won. I said I'm going out a winner, so I can always brag that I won my delegate race, which has come in handy over the years as others have lost. But I lied to everyone. I told every one of the people I was voting for them just because they think they'd have my vote. And you touch on this, right? Like these delegates aren't obligated to tell anyone the truth.
Yeah. And you see that a lot. You'll be like, well, we had counted and had this, and then people switch their votes. And that's going to happen up until the moment, it happens. Obviously, we've got a lot of texting and Zoom calls and meet and greets happening and, one-on-one discussions with delegates. And so it's all going to be, hot and heavy for the next couple weeks on that side.
All right, let's talk about something else. Braun came out. You guys had a fabulous piece on it, and basically somehow is determined he can keep suspending the gas tax, it appears, as many times as he wants. You guys went to the statute, and it appears pretty ironclad. It's 60 days and no more than one renewal. Braun said, "Oh no, I've got a way." What are we hearing?
Well, I think what we're hearing is, and this is, he could have avoided this, is it always allowed. The statute is clear. You can suspend it for 60 days and then you can renew it one time for another 60 days. He only did 30 days. So the question is, do you get 120 days in all period, or do you get one renewal? Like, which part of the law trumps kind of thing? Is 120 days max, or one renewal? Because technically he did one and then he renewed it once, but he didn't do the full days. He always chose the 30-day route, which I never understood.
Well, yeah, and the other theory maybe is who's going to sue me if I do it again, right? Are the Democrats going to sue me and say you're keeping gas prices too low?
Well, let me be clear. When it was the sales tax, I don't, obviously no one's going to sue over that. And there is an argument to be made on the sales tax side that because prices went higher and it's a percentage, maybe you guys were already ahead of the projections, right? You've already collected enough. But now that he's suspending the actual gas tax, which is flat, there's no real way to make that up. Like 130-day is you've already taken 1/12 of the funding that was expected. And so if you do it another 30 days, then you're starting to see real cuts going to local state roads.
Well, you wrote an article a while ago about this. As usual, you were light years ahead of the curve, basically saying, hey, nobody knows where this money's going. Nobody knows what they're getting for their money. They've got to start being more clear on what we're getting for all of these taxes on gas and on tolls and on everything else. And so they've sort of like put themselves in a corner where you don't even know what you're missing now because nobody understands how any of it works.
Yeah, I mean, I think some sort of outside audit is worth it. I mean, it seems clear that our roads are crumbling, and I don't know enough about road construction, but are we doing something differently than other states that other roads are lasting more? Or is it, I mean, I know we have a lot of truck traffic, but is it disproportionately higher than other states? I mean, I think there needs to be some discussion of, are we getting the bang for the buck? I get the whole idea that, you're collecting less because vehicles are more fuel efficient, so they're filling up less. And I get that inflation's up, but I do think we should at least talk on the other side of the ledger, which is, are we getting enough for what we're spending?
Nikki Kelly with the Capitol Chronicle is our guest. A couple minutes left with her. Rokita's looking into the gouging, and there's like 30 some people that have been accused of gouging. Am I getting taken to the cleaners with my gas fill-ups?
Look, I think there's a chance that in some areas you are. A few people have, when I've played around on that gas portal, which I think is incredibly cool, by the way, you do find some outliers there, right? And so they're, I think, reaching out and saying, you got to watch this. I do find it entertaining usually that, they say like when he suspended the gas tax or whatever, well, you have to wait till they finish that whatever is in the ground, right, in the tanks before they can put that on. But yet at the same time, when crude oil jumps in an afternoon, they immediately raise the prices, right? That's not based on what's in the ground. So, I think it's a hard thing to prove. And we'll see that moving forward, if we see any actual charges or if these are all just sort of inquiries and warnings.
Okay, before we let you go, we have the potential for so many shenanigans over the next couple months with these elections. Indiana's kind of been in a boring election state at least in our own statewide offices. The presidencies have been kind of fun. I think Ballard's going to get those signatures, and I think it's going to be a whole new level of crazy this fall. You got to be super jazzed about what's ahead for the next 4 or 5 months in Indiana politics and government.
I mean, I think on the Secretary of State side, it'll be pretty interesting. Otherwise, that's the top race, right? We don't have anything in the Senate. We are probably going to be still watching the Indiana Senate in terms of leadership. We're going to hear about Democrats this week running for comptroller and treasurer. I don't expect those to be any sort of competitive races. They usually aren't. So, but they will be technically, have competitors, and so we'll be covering those profiles and those previews too for the fall.
It is silly season, and we're not even to the summer technically yet. I think it's still spring.
I know it's been crazy and so much more happening that we can't get to, but we're trying.
Can we just formally say too that the "I'm just a bill" behind you is the most amazing thing ever, and I don't know where you got that, but I want one for our office.
I love it. And occasionally I will do Zooms with younger people and they don't know what that is. And it scares me.
That's horrible. But you are the best. Nikki Kelly from the Indiana Capital Chronicle, indianacapitalchronicle.com. Thank you.
All right. See you later.
All right. Yeah, we'll take a break. We'll be right back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Is your driveway showing signs of wear? Freeze-thaw cycles, road salt, environmental buildup like mold and dirt can all cause unsightly damage that can end up in an expensive repair. That's where Seal Now comes in. Seal Now are the clean, seal, and stain professionals that can help you protect your outdoor surfaces. Got a worn-out fence or deck? They can revive the look while providing long-term protection. Call today, 317-548-2002, or visit sealnow.com. Not only will you get a free estimate, but mention you heard about Seal Now on the Rob Kendall Show and receive 20% off any long-term sealing project.
Industry experts address moisture intrusion, failing foundations, masonry deterioration, and more. From preserving historic landmarks to addressing modern building envelope issues, Bramwell Mackay delivers full-spectrum service with white-glove professionalism. In Indianapolis, call 812-33-BRICK. 812-33-BRICK.
Your bathroom fan could be secretly costing you thousands of dollars in damages. Most people don't even know this until the damage is done. With over 18 years of bathroom remodeling experience, here are 3 signs your fan is failing you without spending a dime on inspections. Sign number 1 is if you have foggy mirrors after you shower. This shows that your fan isn't pulling out enough moisture, which creates the perfect environment for mold. If you have a properly functioning bathroom fan that is the right size for your space, you shouldn't see much fogginess on your bathroom mirror at all. Sign number 2 is if you have bubbling, cracking, or peeling paint in your bathroom. This means moisture is soaking into your walls, slowly breaking down drywall, and even causing the wood framing behind it to rot. Sign number 3 is if you have mold buildup on your fan, ceilings, or walls. This is terrible for your health, but also could wreck your bathroom, costing you a fortune. If you're noticing any of these signs, here's what you can do.
Call Vent Savvy today at 317-300-4434. That's 317-300-4434 and mention Rob for a free attic inspection.
Hey guys, welcome back. Rob Kendall Show. Thanks so much for joining us, staying with us. We had that power surge earlier. That was so wild. That's really the first thing that we've had happen in the 12.5 weeks we've been doing the show. That's pretty amazing. We were so certain it was going to be the internet that was going to do us in, and then it was the power surge. But the great news about YouTube is that it just records the whole time. So if you missed any part of while the power was out there for about 3 or 4 minutes, you can go back and watch it. Watch me fumble through, try to stall like it's dark. What the hell's going on here? But thanks for being with us. Thanks to John Rust, by the way. John Rust, of course, makes our third hour possible each day. John has been an awesome supporter of our show. We couldn't do what we do without him, so thanks to John Rust. Speaking of people that we want to thank, hey, before choosing a mortgage, it's smart to talk with someone you trust and can actually sit down with because he's local. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage is a local lender helping buyers and homeowners across central Indiana with home purchases, refinancing, strategies to manage debt using home equity. Gary focuses on education and guidance so you understand your options before making a decision. No pressure, just solid advice from someone like you. See what's possible. Visit loansbygary.homes. Loansbygary.homes. You got nothing to lose but dollars on your mortgage payment, so call for a free no-obligation quote. 317-695-5179, 317-695-5179. Gary Tedrow in MLS, number 179207 with Verity Mortgage, in MLS, number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender. Did you guys see about this Ball State professor yesterday? This was pretty wild. So you guys may remember last year, after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, there were employers across Indiana who were really cracking down on anything inappropriate said by their employees in the wake of the death of Charlie Kirk. And that included multiple school teachers, educators, professors who posted things on their social media accounts. And Todd Rokita, the Attorney General, has set up a website, I believe it's called Eyes on Education, where you can report when teachers behave inappropriately for a variety of reasons. And so a lot of these teachers got reported, things that they had posted on social media, and a lot of those teachers got punished, let go, fired, whatever, including one of these people who is a Ball State professor. Her name was Suzanne Swierick, I believe is how her last name is pronounced. Swierc. Suzanne Swierick. If I'm mispronouncing that name, I'm sorry. And she wrote at the time, this is according to, I believe the Indiana Capital Chronicle had this article, quote, "Let me be clear. If you think Charlie Kirk was a wonderful person, we can't be friends. His death is a tragedy, and I can and do feel for his wife and children. I believe in the resurrection, and while it's difficult, I can and do pray for his soul. Charlie Kirk's death is a reflection of the violence, fear, and hatred he sowed. It does not excuse his death, and it's a sad truth. The shooting is a tragedy, and I can and do feel for a college campus experience an active shooter situation. The deaths of Melissa and Mark Hortman, those were the two people in Minnesota. Remember the Minnesota lawmaker and then her husband? The children shot and killed in Minneapolis last month, and the children shot in Colorado today are all tragedies that also deserve your attention. Charlie Kirk excused the deaths of children in the name of the Second Amendment." Okay, so that was her post. Now, that post is in bad taste in the moment. It is, however, if we're being honest, very tame and compared to things that other people said. She did acknowledge the tragedy of death. She did say some things pushing back against the action itself. But in terms of, hey, was that smart to post in the moments after Charlie Kirk's death? I think a reasonable person would say no. And by the way, appropriate is in the eyes of your employer. When you work for someone, unless you're blowing the whistle on some sort of unethical or criminal behavior, I always believe your free speech stops at the employer's door. You don't have the right to anything other than the basic stuff guaranteed to you under the Constitution, right? But free speech doesn't apply in a work environment. You work for someone, you carry the message and carry yourself in a way that represents that employer, and if you don't, you're out. And so Ball State ultimately fired her. I mean, you think about it, right? Like, if I had a fill-in host come in here someday, I would expect the fill-in host to represent the views, the opinions of this program. Or Jason would shut him down. Like, let's just say Ethan came in as a fill-in host one day. And Ethan comes in and he goes, Eric Holcomb was an awesome governor. Eric Holcomb did a great job. The mandates were outstanding. They were the best. They were awesome. Y'all should have been locked down longer. The spending is amazing. I don't have to tolerate that. He's working for me. You're out, Ethan. Ethan would, of course, never do that. But I'm saying when you work for an employer, and I've had employees in the past, probably never again, but I've had employees in the past. They're a pain in the ass. I've been an owner. I pay. I'm in the owner. But those people represented my company. They represent my product. And you have the right to expect them to behave in a certain manner. So Ball State said, hey, look, you're making us look bad. This is controversial. It's pissing people off. It's offending our students. It's offending parents of students who give us money. We're not tolerating this. We're not going to risk some sort of rebellion. You're out. And they fired this woman. She sued them. And yesterday, Ball State reached a settlement with this woman for $225,000. By the way, her yearly salary, according to Capital Chronicle, $72,000. She was the director of health promotion and advocacy. Now, you know me. I don't notice people's appearances, right? I don't notice people's appearances. But this woman did not appear to be a person, if we were to talk about someone you would say, I want to be the face of health promotion and advocacy. This did not appear to be the person who would be the face of that. But she was. She sued, and I guess her quote-unquote punishment was she got essentially 3 times her yearly salary, $225,000. The ACLU represented her in the case, and they said, quote, Suzanne was speaking as a private citizen on a matter of public concern when Ball State fired her over a private social media post. Okay, stop. If you post it on social media, like you put it on the internet, we're not even talking about DMs, I don't think. Like we're talking like you posted. Well, it was only for my friends. No, that's not how this works. If you post it on social media, you should expect that the world will see it. I don't believe in private posts if you post it to the social media account. The First Amendment does not allow government institutions to retaliate in those circumstances, and this settlement reflects that. You work for that institution. They have the right to have standards. They have the right to say you're representing us, and if you represent us in a fashion that looks poorly on our institution, we have the right to fire you. Here is what the Ball State president, Jeffrey Mearns, said, because people are pissed about this, that they settled with this woman. Quote, I authorize that payment because it is substantially less than the anticipated amount of our university's legal fees to defend the case. The settlement does not vindicate Ms. Swearick's claims, as her lawyers have stated today. Well, it kind of does. She acted like an ass on social media. She was at best highly insensitive. Now, again, her statements weren't bad compared to other people who've said way more vile things than that. But you as the employer have the right to say, that don't work here, you're done. Whenever you want to say, that don't work here, you're done. I told you guys, I to this day have no idea why I was fired at WIBC. I have none. They don't owe me an explanation. I'm pissed off the way they did it, that they made me sit home for basically 3 weeks and made me look like I was potentially you were going to see my photo in a post office or something. I was pissed off about that. But if they want to be gone, I don't have any problem with that. You're out of here. And you don't owe me an explanation. I mean, it would have been nice to get one. Who was the last straw? Was it Braun? Was it Diego? Was it Micah? Was it Rokita? Who was the last straw for you people? I want to know. But I'll never know. And that's okay. They don't owe me that. But this woman worked for Ball State. And all you've done now, I mean, you had to know she was going to sue when you fired her. You think she was just going to take it lying down? I mean, this woman certainly doesn't appear like she would take it exercising. What did you think was going to happen? And now you've rewarded it. You've given her 3 times her salary. So what? She just didn't have to work for 3 years? What's her punishment? So basically what you're telling the rest of your staff is, be an insufferable ass, be totally insensitive, and say what you as the university deem inappropriate things. Worst case, we'll give you 3 years' worth of salary. What was her punishment? She's getting treated better than the people who did the right thing, which is say nothing. Mearns, the president at Ball State, continued, my decision to terminate Ms. Swearick's employment, it may be Swearick, either way, employment was based on the relevant facts and was guided by applicable First Amendment case law in the context of public education. Then why did you settle? You knew you were going to have to defend this. This is a horrible example you're setting. You're setting a horrible example by giving this woman money. If you believe she acted inappropriate, I'm with you. Fire her and be done with it. And let the chips fall where they may in a court of law. You have now told your staff they have pretty much carte blanche to say whatever they want. And if you fire them, they're going to get a settlement. It's a horrible, horrible example. Ball State has handled this all wrong. They should not have settled with this woman. Hey, guys, I'll tell you what. With everything going on in Indiana politics right now, there's so much steam. Hot air's blowing around everywhere. I'm starting to think that this state needs a new bathroom fan. And honestly, some of you probably do as well. If your bathroom stays fogged up after a shower, or your fan sounds like it's about to launch into orbit, it's probably not doing its job. That moisture goes somewhere, usually your ceiling or your attic. That's where Vent Savvy comes in. They specialize in fixing bathroom fan ventilation the right way. Go to ventsavvy.com. VENTSAVVY.com. VENTSAVVY.com, and make sure your fan's moving the air more than what's taking place at the Statehouse. Ventsavvy.com. Those guys have been with us for a long time. They are awesome. So, one of the things I get asked a lot is, especially as it relates to politics and government, is what can I actually do? I hear this all the time. I used to hear this all the time on WIBC. And, you know, my answer to this, and I think it's a very valid question, because I think a lot of people really feel lost right now. I think a lot of people look at what's going on in our country on both sides, and they say, where do I fit in? What can I do to make a difference? Like, you look at the Democrats, and you have a party that has, for the most part, been overrun by insane people. I'm not saying all Democrats are insane. I'm saying the voices, the power structure, the party itself is run by crazy people. They're totally out of touch with the middle of the country. They're totally out of touch with the mainstream part of our country. And people are fearful of what it looks like if they're in charge of anything. That's this side. Then over here you have, quote-unquote, our side for many of you. People will believe, like, hey, I vote Republican. They're supposed to be helping us. What are they doing? Look at where our party is headed now, where absolutism to one individual is the key to election, or the key to at least winning the primary. Not the battle of ideas, not the independence to speak out, not the freedom to be in that room of 435 be the 434 to 1. And we're to the point now where people are so afraid to speak out that we're just letting things happen. And what are we seeing happen? Nobody's speaking out about the 39 going on $40 trillion of debt. Nobody's speaking out on the government that's not functioning efficiently. Nobody's speaking about policies that don't seem to have much rhyme or reason. See Iran. And so we have on one side a party of crazy people where the moderates are being flushed out. And on the other side, we have a party of one guy where any voice of dissent is being pushed out. And I feel like the majority of our country is like stuck in this middle ground here. Not so much middle ground maybe in your ideology, but the middle ground saying neither side is for me anymore. What do I do? How do I make a difference? And I was thinking about this last night. Most of you guys know I write this daily journal to my daughter. And some days it's a lot of stuff, and some days it's a few sentences, and a lot of times it's just basically like, here's what happened in today in your life. And so someday I will be able to give that to her, and if she chooses to continue it, she will have, as long as she chooses to do it, a daily account of her entire life. When she's 70 years old, when she's 80 years old, she'll be able to look back and say, here is a daily account of my entire life. And I was thinking about last night how much my view on what you can actually do has changed and how it sort of relates to that journal. Like when I first got into politics, I got into it to make a real difference. And I believed that through, I don't know if it's force or will or cult of personality or whatever you want to call it, one person can make a profound difference on a large scale. That was me in my mid-20s. Now, as I've passed 40, I view it a lot differently. And it sort of goes back to what we're doing here. I've kind of come to the point where I've recognized one person on their own can't make a massive difference everywhere. Now, one person can have a big impact in their communities, potentially, in their neighborhoods, certainly. And I think that's when we talk about having an impact and we talk about making change and we talk about making a difference, that's where we got to do what we got to do. We've got to localize the process of how we influence people. It's kind of what I feel like we're doing here every day. Like every day across our various platforms, right now I'm talking to between 3,000 and 3,500 people. But those people that are listening for long periods of time. They're consuming the information. And I sort of feel like doing that is very similar to what I'm doing with my journal, with my daughter. Where every day I write some stuff that I hope she'll take with her, that I hope someday she will consume, and my experiences and telling her the experiences of her own life and the mistakes that I have made and things that I have done, one person will be able to take this and go, this will make my life better, and it will save her from mistakes and it will save her from hazards, and she will be able to have a better life because of it. I'm not writing a book for the entire world. I'm writing a book for one person. And I kind of feel like that's what I'm doing here now. I used to believe when I got into public office, I used to believe when I first went to WIBC, you can speak to the masses and the masses will move and organize and motivate. And really up until about the past year, I still believed that could happen with that platform. And then I recognized it doesn't work that way. That's not, if we're about real change, it's not how it's going to happen. And I thought, well, what, in the season of change in my life, what could I do to still make a difference? To make the most difference? And we came up with this, where I knew collectively there would probably be fewer people each day that listen or watch. But if they would listen for longer, if they would consume more, then they would be able to take more with them. And I sort of felt like that's what I've done now with my career, is I've gone from where it was before, where I'm writing a big journal for everyone to read, but was I actually influencing that many people, to now I'm writing the journal for fewer people to read, but maybe it motivates more people to make a difference in their own life. And for you, the person who consumes this each day, you have the ability to do that as well. I think real difference going forward is going to be made in the localization of everything we take on. You can't do anything to change what's going on in Washington. You can't. You just can't. And if you're being real with yourself, you can't really influence what goes on at the state. I mean, we put 1,000 people in the Statehouse, guys, for the property tax rally. We organized tens of thousands of emails and phone calls. And in the end, the lawmakers just did whatever they were going to do. And as I've had a year and a half to reflect on that now, I realized until we influence those lawmakers locally, it's not going to influence big change, or it's not going to result in big change. And so that's sort of, and we're going to get to Jason here with YouTube comments in just a second, one of my challenges to you to start thinking about. What can you do locally? And by locally, I mean in your own orbit, right? Like, I'm blessed that my orbit is you guys. I have a platform where my orbit gets pretty big, even though I feel like I'm having a local conversation. I'm sort of writing in my local diary. And look, we grow every day, right? We get more subscribers every day. We get more likes every day. We get more people every day. It grows organically. It grows slowly, incrementally. That's great. That's the way I like it to be. People said when we started this podcast, well, you're going to limit your audience if you stay local. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with our club being the people that are into wanting to influence what's going on in their community, on their neighborhood, on their street, in their city, in their town. I'm okay with that. And so as we've pivoted to this, my challenge to you is, how do you localize your influence? Start thinking about that. You're going to have to work at it, guys. It doesn't happen automatically. But there's a lot more hope and optimism being found in the idea I can influence my street, my neighborhood, my city, than there is I can influence what's going on in Washington, D.C. And in that influence that can be found in a street, in a neighborhood, in a city, those people and that influence will hopefully elevate itself up. You know, it's interesting. I saw this yesterday, and it really sort of reinforced what I was talking about. The Libertarian Party, guys, they're a dumpster fire, right? We've talked about this before. They're beyond help, right? But they recently picked a new national chairman, and his name is Evan McMahon. And Evan McMahon, some of you have listened to me for a long time, you know Evan McMahon. He is actually the state party chairman in Indiana. And Evan McMahon has done a pretty good job of having the Libertarian Party in Indiana far exceed what the party is doing nationally. They have maintained some level of decency and relevance here in Indiana. And Evan McMahon ran on the idea that nationally is not how we're going to make a difference with the Libertarian Party. We're going to have no influence nationally. But we can have an influence locally, and that is where our focus needs to be. Evan McMahon ran on and has been elected to rearrange that entire party. And his rearranging of the party is going to say all our focus is going to be in our local communities and in our states. National, yeah, we'll have people that'll run, but it doesn't matter. And in fact, that is why he is now encouraging people do not give to the National Libertarian Party, rather to give to their state party and allow the state party first to kick it down to local chapters. And then if there's any left over, some of that will go to the national party, but very little. He's arguing against the idea of a national party, essentially. You give it to the state, we'll field candidates, we'll fund those candidates. If there's any left, we'll kick it to the local chapters to do their work in their local races. And then if there's any of that left over, then some of that might go to the national party. And I was reading that going, that's actually really brilliant. Does it mean it'll work? I don't know. Libertarians are a dumpster fire. A lot of squirrels. A lot of unserious people. But if you were going to give yourself a puncher's chance in order to try to grow into some level of relevance, that's a great idea. I said, that's what we're kind of doing here. We made a gamble on being all local, for the most part. We do national, rarely, but sometimes, if it's really big stories, and we can bring them back home. And everybody told me in the beginning, you won't be able to maximize your influence outside of your state. I said, that's okay. I'm okay with our little club. I'm proud of it. I'm proud of how you guys have grown it. And I'm proud of the rate at which we've grown, in which the people who come in are dedicated to the same set of ideals and making a difference that we are. Look, I never had a vision when I started this that I was going to have 30,000 listeners a day like I did on IBC. But I did have a vision that I would have thousands of listeners, and they would listen for a lot longer, and they would consume the information better, and that has happened through 12 and a half weeks. Every metric I've set for myself, you guys have exceeded. And we have great metrics planned for ourselves as we continue to grow this thing. But I want you guys to know that our end goal with this, when I talk about growth, is not to be some sort of national podcast. It's not to have some sort of national influence. It's not to see myself on Fox News or News Nation or Newsmax. Be nice. My goal is to continue to grow this thing in the confines that allows us to remain local, that allows us to make an influence locally, that allows us to inspire you to make a difference locally. See, the reason, and the politicians never understood this, and they can make snide comments about us all they want. By the way, if you go on radio and you make a snide comment about me, knowing I can't punch back, Jason tells me to be radio friendly. You're a coward. You're a gutless, pathetic coward. As a broadcaster or a politician. You're not tough. Nobody sees you and goes, oh, what a Billy badass. You're a pathetic joke. And this show right here, we're fine with what we're doing. We're proud of it. We're going to grow. Every week we have grown. Every day we have grown. Every month we have grown. We have more influence with the people that we touch every day with this program in our communities that we're serving than we ever had with that blowtorch. And it's not to demean what that station has represented. It's an incredibly important station in the history of the city. I hope that going forward, obviously, the show that was in our place, it didn't go so well. And so now they're looking for something new. I hope whoever the new person is, they get back. The reason that show didn't do well was because they weren't true to what you guys loved. The reason you came over here is you knew you were getting someone that was actually invested in you. So I hope whoever the next person is, they learn that lesson. It's not easy to do this. But people will gravitate to real. People will gravitate to people that they can believe in. People who will fight for them. And I hope that's what you guys do today, is take a few moments to think about in your community, in your world, in your street, in your neighborhood, in your city and town. How do you start to expand your local influence? Not to say, hey, I got to win a public office. But what do you do to help better people get better results? Start thinking about that. I think you'll be surprised at how much of a difference you can actually make. Hey, we'll bring Jason in here in just a second, but one of the biggest complaints I hear from people who are buying and selling a home, they're like, man, the process is overwhelming. Like, I don't even know where to begin. Then I do begin. Then it's just a nightmare. And then I'm overwhelmed. And I'm like, should I get this house? Should I get that house? Should I sell for this? Should I sell for that? Am I getting too little for it? You got to take the stress out of your life, guys. You got to bring in a pro. You got to bring in an advocate. You got to bring in somebody who's going to fight for you. That's Lauren Wilson, Realtor with Ad Properties, 317-590-2290. 317-590-2290. Lauren Wilson wants to know you. She wants to know what your ambitions are, what you want to accomplish, and then she will get to work. Get that bulldog in your corner. Lauren Wilson, Realtor with Ad Properties, 317-590-2290. 317-590-2290. And with that, it's time to make you the star. The best YouTube comments of the day, which spark great conversation for 3 hours here every day. Producer Jason, hello.
Hello, Rob. How we doing?
I'm great.
All right. Excellent. This chat brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to the plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. Black Sheep Plumbing can do the job right at a fraction of the cost of the big guys. And Black Sheep Plumbing says thank you to all military, firefighters, and police officers with the American Heroes discount. Give them a call. Give them a text. 765-315-7558. 765-315-7558. Black Sheep Plumbing.
All right.
The Old Man 68. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Another day of Diego news. Grab your snacks and let's enjoy the show.
That's right. The Old Man was number one today. Huh?
Number one today. Deep thoughts. Happy Wednesday. The rainstorm woke me up. It did thunder a little bit this morning. Looks like it's probably going to do it again later today, so be safe out there, everyone.
It's going to rain again?
I believe so, just about the time we walk out of here.
Oh,
yep. Spray Jockey, happy hump day, Robbleheads. Good morning, Rob. Jason, legend. Spreading. Debbie Holcomb, good morning, peeps. Good to see you all. So many here before the 10-minute queue. Can't wait for our daily dose of Ron and Jason.
Ron?
R-O-N. I think Debbie knows who you are, though. Little typo there. Stephen Goodman. Hi, Rob.
Stephen Goodman, the actor?
Stephen Goodman, 2078. Hi, Rob, Jason, and Chad.
By the way, did you see that somebody pulled out of their subscribe? I think somebody got mad that
I think we lost 5 subscribers. Yeah, we hit 3,000.
That's hilarious.
Blew the internet up, power went off, and we come back on, and we're down to $29.95. So you know what happened? Oh, screw Rob. Yeah.
Some people
because you have to subscribe to chat.
Yeah.
So you get the haters that want to hate.
Yeah.
And when you said, "Hey, we're almost at 3," they're like, "Oh."
You know what's great, and this is my life, right? These people that hate me so much, we had fun with that. It was a joke, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they take it so serious. Their hatred is so strong. They're like, we're not going to let him have his imaginary thing that he claimed to want that he doesn't actually care about. We'll show him.
Since you were a little kid, before YouTube came on, Rob was like, I want to be a YouTube sensation. Here you are.
It's good. People are great.
Bon says, doubling down on DDBBQ today. Yippee, yum, yum, yay.
Double D's Barbecue.
They're
open. It's wing day.
That's what Bon was saying.
Wing day.
Yep. All right, here we go. Ethan Hatcher. Good morning, Robbleheads. Rejoice in the glorious bounty of another award-winning edition of the Rob Kendall podcast. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll be enraged, and you'll learn something along the way.
Ethan should be like, the taglines for the movies, that come out. That should be
Mm-hmm.
Ethan. He would be great at that. That'd be a great career for Ethan.
All right. He also pointed out he noticed the purple in the background.
Looks blue.
He was very pleased.
It's blue, isn't it?
It is blue. I think Ethan's a little colorblind. We just won't tell him. Yeah, it's purple, Ethan. All right, Steve Green with an E.
Yes.
I can feel Bronze Stooges listening all the way down here in Bedford. Hit the like, you asshats. That's Steve saying that, not me.
That's good stuff.
Debbie Holcomb. Rob Kendall Show is so close to 3,000 subscribers. Hit the bell, hit the thumbs up, subscribe.
Hey, by the way, if you guys haven't done
we did
so,
hit over 200 likes.
We're over, yeah, okay. Don't forget, tickets to the live show. Join us. Come hang out with us. We're going to have a blast. If you're thinking hey, what can I do to help the show? This is an opportunity for you to help the show and help yourself. An evening out, June the 27th, Mad Hatter Comedy Club Event Center in Greenwood. Come hang out with all these fabulous people. So many of our YouTube chatters are going to be there. The one-man show. We're going to make you laugh. We're going to roast politicians. I'll swear a whole bunch. It's going to be great. Get your tickets. Link available, robkendallshow.com.
MLM Warriors, nice shirt, producer Jason.
Oh, damn.
Thank you very much. Picked it up myself, straight out of the dryer. And now everybody's asking, so these local radio guys are paying to be on national news?
I never knew that.
I can't guarantee that that's happening to anyone specific, but it is a thing, and it's usually how you get on. You don't necessarily pay Fox News or CNN.
You got a guy.
You got a guy. You got to pay the guy, and the guy books you, and it's like, okay, they've got a 10-minute slot open today. You available? They're going to talk about this. You know about that. Get on. So, but yeah, you pay.
When I
you pay.
You pay. When I got, remember this?
Prove me wrong.
When I got fired, some guy called me about buying time on the satellite networks and stuff. So I mean, that's a thing. I mean, that's not that far from that. So
yeah. I'm not saying it's wrong.
No.
Pay for attention, but I'm just saying it's not like we got to get him on because he is so knowledgeable about this. Let's bring him in.
Yeah.
He's one of 50,000 talk show hosts.
You got a guy
there.
that's shopping you to people, basically,
exactly.
that you're paying
Nothing
to shop
wrong
you.
with that. No, I'm just.
I need one of those guys.
Who
wants to be my guy?
Not passing judgment.
Shop
yeah,
me.
Exactly. Somebody
shop me. I want to be on Dana Lash. Shop me. I want to be on Hannity. Shop me. I want to be on Glenn Beck. Somebody shop me.
Well, they're saying write a check, Rob, and we'll shop you. Almond Joy Tempo. Call Diego, Rob. You should call him right now.
My problem is if he answers, I need to actually say some things to him. No.
Well, that would be tacky to call him on the air.
Okay, so
but,
here, this is my question. When you call when you call from a radio station, you got to identify your radio station, right? Like you're on the air.
I think maybe is that a law now? It used to be because people would call up and they I don't know if that's
you don't have to do that on the internet, right?
Well, no, that's true. We're not FCC regulated.
Because like when Hammer and I did
tacky, but we're not.
When Hammer and I did the Lion Dudes, remember when we called those politicians that were screwing on the property taxes? We called the segment Lion Dudes because they lied and screwed us. We'd call their office on the air, and we had to say, "Hey, this is Jason Hammer.
Right.
on WIBC, you're on the air right now, when the secretary or whatever would answer the phone.
Well, that'd be common courtesy, of course.
Yeah,
but I think there was a big brouhaha about that years and years ago.
But I'm saying we wouldn't have to do that. Well, I could have the conversation with Diego on the stream, and I wouldn't have to do that. Right?
It'd be kind of tacky because
it would be.
Because the point is, like, for Diego's people that are watching right now and taking notes, we want Diego on.
We
it's
do.
Not a setup. It's not. I mean,
no. Let me look into the camera.
There will be a softball or two, a couple hard balls, but
look, Diego, your campaign is in free fall, and you can save it, but you have to prove to these people you're a fighter. You have to prove to these people how full of crap Banks and Rokita are. You have to prove to these people that the people that they're telling them to vote for England are no better. They're no better than you. And this is the show to do it on. Look, I'm going to ask you about India.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to ask you about the car. I'm going to ask you about your felon friend that you went to the finals with.
And if you got higher aspirations than just being the Secretary of State, you're going to have to be able to answer these, and you should be able to deflect even if you don't want to answer.
And then once we get through that, then we can turn together to these people we both dislike. All you got to do is probably have 10 to 15 minutes of uncomfortable behavior, of questions. Your behavior might be uncomfortable as well, but then we can turn on the people that you don't like. This could work out great for you. And if it doesn't, what do you have to lose?
The enemy of my enemy.
You got nothing to lose.
White Rabbit. I thought producer Jen was the 3,000th subscriber. She was. Producer Jen. I don't know who producer Jen, but Jen, she got like a long name. Came over from the other chat.
Oh.
Recognized.
We got a new listener.
And she's more than welcome to hang out. Jennifer Schmidt Schoolcraft.
Oh.
See, Jennifer, you made the chat. You come over here. We welcome you with open arms.
Yes,
we
welcome.
appreciate your 3,000th, you being the 3,000th subscriber. But now somebody else gets to be the 3,000th subscriber because when you subscribed, 5 other people unsubscribed.
Yeah, but it's
That's
like,
how it works.
like,
it's all right.
Like when Roger Maris hit 61 home runs against Babe Ruth, broke Babe Ruth's record. Sure, Mark McGwire beat him, but everybody said Maris got there first. You're still first. Jennifer Smith Schoolcraft was first to 3,000. So some other person will beat 3,000, but you're sort of like a new record holder. We'll always remember Jennifer Smith Schoolcraft as the first 3,000.
Wear it proudly. Lila loves ducks. What should you do? Well, obviously you should call Diego. Steve Green with an E. Not only is it fair game, but it's your duty to call Diego. Vic Ferrari. I wouldn't chase Diego. Not a good look. Almond Joy Tempo. Call Diego. Heartland Meditation Ministries. Call him. Do it while live. Mad Duck. Yes, you should call him. Josh Richardson, absolutely, call him. Debbie Holcomb, call Diego. We need the interview. Mad Duck, hello, Diego. This is Rob, live on YouTube. And my audience, we'd like to ask you a few questions.
How do you think he answers the phone? I really want him, like you said, Diego, go. Diego, you the man.
I mean, probably just Diego Morales. I don't know. I pay Diego. Anticipating the question there.
Yeah.
All right. Charles Ludi today in the chat. Did anyone get a conduct warning before signing into the chat this morning, or was it just me?
Whoa.
No, it wasn't just you, Charles. We did something. We're starting to get a lot of people in the chat, so we got to kind of make sure, I don't want to have to go in and kick people out
right.
or do all that kind of crap. So, we start putting words in there, and there was a box I could check that said, it would warn people when they log in, like, don't be a jerk. So it wasn't just you, Charles. It was everybody. Regular Jeff, talking to Ethan. Ethan, I remember LD started the phrase "robbleheads" in a derogatory way.
LD Stoltz.
No, that would be Libertarian Dragon.
Oh, that's the guy on the other chat. That's right.
Yeah. He hasn't seen the light yet.
I bet that guy is miserable today. So those you got
nowhere for him to chat. He's chatting by
himself.
That's
right, because they're down. And I like Craig. Craig's a nice guy, the guy that they got filling in over there. But there was that guy. He went by Libertarian Dragon, and he lived to be mean to me. Was he still in the old chat? Was he still there?
They don't have. They don't do the.
No. But with the other show that they put on,
I never paid.
Was he still there?
Oh, I did not lurk in their chat.
I thought that guy's whole life was about being mean to me. I bet, and I was shocked he has not shown up in our chat.
He will. But regular Jeff pointed out that Libertarian Dragon start. Now he says LD, so we'll leave it at LD.
Oh, I thought you were talking about our fan LD
phrase.
Stoltz. I'm sorry.
But Robbleheads was a derogatory comment. Now it's stuck around as a complimentary one.
Yeah, I was going to say LD Stoltz is like one of our super
We
fans.
turned it around. Yeah. All right. Mad Duck. Yes, you should call him. Josh Richardson. Absolutely. Okay, we went through that. The old man, 68. That would be awesome if he answered. Somebody suggested you use my phone, producer Jason's phone, to call. He wouldn't have my number in there.
I'm not trying to confuse him. I'm trying to deceive him.
My number, and I'll give away the 3 digits. It's a 501. Those are always the spam calls, 501. So nobody ever answers my call.
Yeah, no, I'm not trying to deceive the guy. Like, I'm not trying to get one over on him. And this is why I've said to the camera, you're going to come in here. We're going to go at it for 10, 15 minutes. You know what we're going to go at it at. And then we'll just turn our attention to how I actually think you're getting screwed by these hypocrites who knew exactly what you were, emboldened you, and now they're trying to cut bait on you. Diego, you would break the internet. You would have thousands of people that would watch it. You could win your way back into those people's good graces. You have nothing to lose, Diego.
All right. Continuing on, Andy Engel. Diego has put me in a weird position. Well, okay. Both despising his so-called leadership and yet wanting to defend him against the establishment. It's got you a little twisted.
It does.
I think.
No. That's why. Like, I'm not trying to be a smart ass or anything. Like, that's exactly how it would go.
Mm-hmm.
You come in here, we'll go at it, and then we'll turn to these people who are every bit as bad as you.
LD's not liked at all in our chat. I don't know. That's kind of funny. Okay. Shrog Samich. Daddy Jason brings the belt to the chat. Snap, snap.
Who was that?
I used to be called Daddy back at the strip.
Yeah, because your job was if the chicks were getting squirrely, you told them get out.
Snap them back in shape.
Yeah.
That's right. That was my job. All right, continuing on. Baby fish mouth.
Okay.
All right. We baby fish mouth. Okay. Diego was one of those people who showed up and did the party work that the Inglings of the world think is beneath them. He probably knows a lot of people's secrets just from being around so long.
That's what I'm saying. You got to burn it to the ground. They're not giving you a job, right?
You got dirt, Diego.
Let it go, man.
You
can't let them just run all over you.
Sue Seifert. The similarities switching Ingling for Morales and Harris for Biden should make it clear how all of our politics is about deceits, lies, power, and money.
That's right. You know who Diego could be? Warren Beatty had a movie in the 90s called Bulworth, where he was this senator and something happened to him, and they just went on a tear. He just started telling the truth to every person he walked up to. That could be Diego. Diego, you could be Bulworth for the next 4 weeks. It'd be awesome.
B.J. Thomas.
Singer?
I'm probably. He's in the chat saying Knox County represented on the show.
Oh, how exciting.
Yeah.
David Sheldon. Yeah.
Pamela, vote Shelton. All right. Ethan Hatcher, even though he was kind of boring in this interview and didn't take full advantage of this opportunity, I still plan to vote for David Sheldon at the convention.
That's what sucks. He's so boring, and he would be so good at that job. And I've tried. I begged him. I'm like, you have to stop being boring. And that's why they went for Ingling, because they thought Sheldon was too boring.
Feller, a good, low-key, but informative interview. Sue Seifert, we need more boring candidates. Going for the most popular, exciting one hasn't seemed to pan out very well.
I agree, but you got to get out of the convention. You got to give a little sizzle.
Yeah, you got to let Rob introduce you.
He should. He totally should.
I mean, I don't understand.
Hell, I might introduce Diego.
Yeah. He got one left to ask. All right, the old man 68. Did Shelton say he was the one that uncovered Diego's chief of staff was illegally registered? Was he the guy?
He said something about her voting history. I will tell you, I got most of my information on this woman from a very high person in state government.
You know everybody in state government.
That's right.
You know all the high people.
I don't want to demean Shelton's ability to have information. I will just tell you most of mine.
MLM Warriors, great interview.
Thank you.
All right, let's see. Callous Film. Going to be harder for Paxton to win in Texas, I think, than it would have been.
Totally. Cornyn.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Then it would have been. That was the end of the. Okay, there we go. Chris Spangle Show.
Chris, our former landlord.
The party of law and order sure does love criminals. All right. Srog sandwich. Light should have been yellow or orange today. Dang it. Everybody keeps screaming purple. I had it yellow. No, I didn't have it yellow orange. I just noticed that. Okay, she just noticed that. Yellow. All right. With pink. Okay. Orange.
You're getting a new plant, by the way, right?
We're getting a new plant that doesn't not look like corn. It's not a corn stalk.
I never even noticed it looked like corn until people
It's a
pointed it
corn
out.
stalk.
Oh, is that what it actually
drives
is?
me crazy.
All right, you got about 1 minute.
Okay, here we go. Baby Fishmouth. We should take party affiliations off the ballot.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
That
That's the
would
way we
be,
do school. Well, we did school board that way.
Yeah, good comment. Okay. Okay, okay, 3,000 subscribers. Okay, we had the network crop out on us earlier, the internet. Everybody kind of freaked out. No, he got 3,000 and the show crashed. Diego pulled the plug. Shrog Sandwich did 3,000 break the show. Heartland Meditation Ministries. Rob broke the internet. Josh Richardson. That's it. We had a good run, but 3,000 subscribers did the show in. Kettle's Guns. Someone text Jason. I don't have his number. Grayson. Congrats on 3,000, Rob. Glad I'm a subscriber. Kevin Branham. There we go. The internet broke. Kettle's Guns. Then we came back. In the words of George Costanza, he's back, baby. I think we'll leave it at that. That was good. All right, guys. Thanks for the comments. There's so many more it could have got to, but Rob went over a little bit and didn't give me as much time today.
Sorry.
But that's okay. We'll allow it because it was, as always, a fantastic show, Rob. And this chat, as always, brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing.
Yep.
See you tomorrow.
All
So
right,
long.
masonry color mismatch, previous repair catching your eye. If you're not happy with the brick color in your home and ready for a total makeover, Bramwell Mackay Property Services and Consultants offer specialized masonry staining and recoloring. Whether you want to seamlessly blend repairs or completely transform your home's exterior, you want to build something new, Bramwell Mackay's 40-year master masons design and construct custom patios, sidewalks, outdoor summer kitchens, archways, entryways, and more. Bramwell Mackay, BRAMWELLMCKAY, beauty built to endure. All right, Statehouse happenings will be up tomorrow morning. Abdul Jammeret will have all sorts of stuff on the latest Secretary of State drama, so look for that in the morning. We will see you guys back here tomorrow, 9 until noon. For producer Jason, I'm Rob Kendall. You've been watching Rob Kendall Show.